Hello, it is Thursday, 7:30 p.m. CST, or a bit after now. I'm Henry.
I'm Jacob.
And welcome back to Technopoverty, as pointed out by 3256 in the chat, following your InfoWars stream. So, whenever you finish watching InfoWars, if you're doing that live, hop on over to twitch.tv/technopoverty. I'm looking into maybe just paying for some stream elements or some sort of multi-stream service to just get it going on YouTube as well. I just know sometimes we stream stuff that I feel like I suspect YouTube would auto ban, but anyways, just in my experience of like streaming for the other place, the big place Mr. Burns and I used to work at, it seemed really easy if somebody just said your stream was bad, like without any justification, like YouTube will just end it. We watched some Matt Walsh stuff, I remember.
That's so funny.
And the Matt Walsh people got very finicky and bitchy, I guess.
Which is wild, because like they're not going to get those numbers on their own.
Right.
Like those reviews they're never going to get.
I've received Daily Wire ads. It's just Daily Wire programming. It's just that those YouTube ads that run for like 20 or 30 minutes, that it's like, why the hell did they even permit this? Nobody's watching these things in full. But anyways, when we're not here gabbing about what's wrong with the internet, Technopoverty is an excuse to play books and read video games, bounce the two off each other, talk about what they're making us think and feel, and just talk about with you here, the chat, both the materials we're reading, what's going on in the current culture, how we're feeling about things, what's going on in your neck of the woods. I think your mic died or something, Jacob.
Oh, I may not have turned it on.
3-2. I've never gone that far, honestly. I remember when the link stopped working after it and chat went wild with theories. 3-2. I have sat for a moment on some video game ones. There's this Skyrim essay I would keep getting where it's like everybody's been playing Skyrim wrong, and I just never wanted to watch it. And then I just started getting served in my ads. It's like, no, like I would have clicked this if I wanted it, YouTube.
Yeah, you literally have to be like, don't show me this video.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I had to do that with all the Tom King shit I was getting because I've been identified as a superhero guy.
You have to like, here, we'll give you all the stuff you want to hear.
But tonight we're going to be reading Walter Benjamin's On the Theory of History, while Jacob continues on with Freedom Fighters. Last time we read Walter Benjamin's Critique of Violence, in which Benjamin talked about mythic violence, lawmaking violence, the use of violence as a means within our legal system, kind of the very scary idea when you start really thinking about it, like, oh yeah, property as a concept has to be enforced. It's not that we, the land doesn't make you violent. People are violent in order to define what the land is. And that's just, think about that. Also, just what do laws imply? What do they insinuate? What are they backed up by? What is their mandate? I see you got the Barney cam on us without Barney, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw that on.
Everyone loves our beautiful faces.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what I really liked was said, it was really summed up when he says that a protest or a strike, and when talking about like political goals and means and ends and justifications, the strike is consummation, not the inciting incident. It's like the strike carries out the means towards the ends, but you have to have the ends in mind. Which is something I've been thinking about a lot watching you play Freedom Fighters here, Jacob. Let me pull the game up.
Yeah, there we go. Now we got some frame rates.
And we've been going... We also read Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed before we read the Walter Benjamin. Talking about the Bacon method of education, the bucket mentality of learning and storing facts and figures, the oppressor-oppressed dynamic in education, dialogical and anti-dialogical modes of engagement, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, make sure you're getting your game audio in there. How ye gnarly, haha. Wagwan alaikum mina.
Let's see what exposition we got here.
Oh, this is it.
That's right. He goes through this whole day thing. Yeah, you guys talked about all this.
Let me turn the game up for a moment before I get to reading the Benjamin. Right, you're doing like an ice assault.
Yeah. Wait, did I guess it's not gonna.
But Benjamin talking about means and ends made us also talk a little bit about our old French friend Camus and his rebel, who distinguishes between the rebel and the revolutionary. And this is something Benjamin and Freire all kind of talk about, is there's the mythical violence which reinforces the way things are. And the way things are, violence is used to reaffirm the status quo, violence is used to reaffirm current power structures. You have to be wary of the sort of revolutionary who doesn't seek to deconstruct the violent system, but instead just shuffle around who's in charge of it, is what all three of these writings are pointing towards. Camus says, we rebel, I rebel, therefore we are. Like, rebellion is a redefinition of a common social definition of where the bounds of like human acceptability, tolerance, justice, etc. are. But, you know, a revolutionary, it revolves. Instead of a rebellion, which reforms. So, for instance, what Jacob's doing here with this this vision of rebellion, this is just trying to 1776, 2001, you know? The ends aren't like anything really politically grounded, but the means are shoot, shoot, shoot. And I think video games are extraordinarily fascinating in the way they can have the most bizarre ends constructed in their fantasy digital spaces, which justify the means, which is the interacting with the narrative through whatever the controls are, in this case, shoot, shoot, shoot. Jacob, how have you felt middle managing your way through the revolution?
You know, honestly, these guys listen really well, so it hasn't been too bad.
Good team building exercises?
Yeah, you know, I think if once this is all said and done, I think these guys will run a pizza party.
Oh, wow. You're going to give them a pizza party?
Yeah. And they're going to have 2 slices. Because we care about them. I don't know why they're not shooting at us this time, but I'll take it.
See, a revolutionary is just going to give you a pizza with maybe healthier toppings.
Yeah.
But a real rebel, they're going to get you a pizza factory.
Goddamn right. Damn.
3256 got a pizza party at his job yesterday.
Oh, damn.
Yes, haha, gnarly. Woke pizza. You know what? I just want to bring this up. I told the channel I'm reading something on the side. This doesn't really fit into our program, which, speaking of, when we finish up with the Benjamin here and we finish up with the Freedom Fighters, I'm going to be jumping on Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. I'll be taking my seat in the gamer chair once again. I'll be talking about Gretchen Felker-Martin's Black Flame while we play through that game. I think Black Flame's going to have some fun stuff that fits into all we're talking about here. I don't want to say much about it yet because I'm still reading it and I want to save it for Pipistrello, but the protagonist is very repressed and self-loathing, and there's a lot of stuff going on with like film preservation, but also like the triviification of media. I think this is another reason Americans don't recognize their sort of bucket education drowning pool that they've been in for the past half century, is because I mean, we've been so wealthy a nation that we've been able to douse ourselves in just all the lubricant, you know, and it's just been no friction for a while. I will joke all the time about The Simpsons. Like, I think it's possible, Jacob, it just might be possible to recreate the movie Citizen Kane from just Simpsons references of it. Maybe. I think you can come pretty close to it.
I think I'm with you on that. I agree.
But I bring that up because, like, through The Simpsons, there were so many references to, like, old things that, like, as a little kid, you watch that and you're like, oh, that must be important. Or, like, oh, that must mean something.
Yeah.
There's a canon of Western culture in trivia. And that very much comes from a 70s, 80s, into the 90s, like, cable TVification of the American, like, nuclear family. And, like, what I'm talking about when we're talking about Freire's bucket formula, where you're memorizing what's important. You have those little maxims, like The Godfather and Citizen Kane are the greatest movies of all time. And, like, you know, Empire Strikes Back's the good Star Wars movie. And, like, did you know that a fistful of dollars is actually Yojimbo? Yeah. You see, it's actually pretty smart that they're making Clayface into a body horror movie.
Nothing like this has ever been done.
Never been thought of.
Scan that area.
But yeah, so Black Flame, just a quick little tidbit, is it takes place in the 80s. And the protagonist works at a place that does film preservation, but it is a lot of like transferring old movies to VHS and stuff, which was, you know, a thing happening in the 80s with the introduction of home video. It just reminded me of the way like so many like mid-century things have this projected air of importance because of just like being reverberated in reference on like broadcast TV. You know, Saturday Night Live would reference the thing, The Simpsons would reference the thing. You know, Columbo would, you know, run so long that like everybody would notice it, other countries would get it, and then it'd become, yeah.
Regroup, squad.
I think this overinflated sense of like, you know, post-war American history is like the canon of everything too, is also why we end up with takes like, you know, Nolan made the Odyssey woke by being anti-war, when like the concept of the Odyssey and the Iliad is being like anti-war is like baked into the text from the beginning. But like, I don't know, we have an overinflated sense or like a misperceived sense again of like the epic poem or like the epic legendary myth as being like this pro-war masculine like commando thing. When it's like, well, that's just a lot of our post-World War II media, which was us jerking ourselves off over how badass we were in that conflict by metaphorizing it into every other conflict in history.
Yeah, man, no one else has ever shown up at the tail end of someone else's job and then been like, yeah, we fucking did it. Like, who's Russia? What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, gnarly.
Pull out, everybody.
I am not a What Went Wrong podcast listener. What's up, Ja? Tell me more.
Recon, come on.
Oh, but anyways, that's what Black Flame was reminding me of. But also, so I bring up the Odyssey, anti-war. I mean, the Iliad's all about, again, Achilles and Patroclus and Hector and Paris and Agamemnon and all these men who are otherwise supposed to be smart and brilliant war leaders. They've been at a stalemate for 10 years.
Jesus Christ.
And like Pride or Wrath of Achilles, depending on which translation you're reading, will open that poem, if I remember right. It's like Speak Muse of the Wrath of Achilles. I know that's fairly early in the Iliad. I'm not sure if that's literally the first line. I'm much more an Odyssey guy than an Iliad guy, but I mean, it's there. You don't have the Odyssey without the contrast of the Iliad before it. But I bring that up. Once again, Gretchen Felker-Martin's Black Flame. We're going to read that while playing Pipistrello. Afterwards, The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin. I may read this as we play through Pipistrello into Mina the Hollower. We're going back to furry summer once all the guns are put down. One last thing before I get to the Benjamin, though, is the book I've been reading on the side, the Dungeons & Dragons book, the Dragonlance book, Dragons of Autumn Twilight. The first Dragonlance book, the first official Dungeons & Dragons book. It's shallow, it's fun, it's chewy. I find it very interesting, Jacob, how because it's just trying to take advantage of like the wide latitude of things possible within like the setting of Dungeons and Dragons. It's like a dungeon master writing their optimal like showcase of everything, or like it's kind of like how the first Unreal game, just Unreal, is like a pretty fun atmospheric first-person shooter that has a lot of good naturalistic like ludo-narrative storytelling shit going on because it's just there to show off the engine. I feel that's what this is. It's the Unreal of just like bubblegum paperback sci-fi. I mean sci-fi fantasy. But one of the things that happens because of that is, you know, in Dungeons and Dragons, there's multiple races, there's multiple classes. I know they don't call them races anymore, but this came out in 1984. I think it was the second edition was what was in style at the time. So by wanting to showcase everything off, it has a party of 8 characters learning to get along, and they're all of different races. And I found it interesting that there were 3 characters at the beginning who work amongst each other because they all speak different languages to understand what a goblin's saying. So like, right off the bat, I think of just, remember when I talked about leaving Babyland because of like dudes crying over woke D&D and like Sandy Peterson being right back in my day and just Chuds like boosting his ego way too fucking much. Hi Sandy, hope this finds you well.
So funny.
But like, you know, there's just the dudes bitching about the pastel-colored flavor of D&D, and it's like, this is the first licensed Dungeons & Dragons book, and without even like a sense of neoliberal, like post-Clinton idpol, Obama-era poptimism, like Hope Corps type shit, it is still intentionally going for that diversity and coalition of different types working together to get the mission done thing. And it's just fun to see that historically because, again, much like the Odyssey and Iliad, I think having anti-war sentiments in there from the get-go, these things aren't new. We're facing what Frederick Jameson would call like the postmodern schizophrenic state, where we don't follow the line of historical continuity, and it drives us crazy because then everything's like fresh and absurd and just insurmountably insane because our limit of horizon is so fucked up from not understanding like what's going on materially and what has been going on for years.
It's funny, after we destroy a bunch of things, that suddenly things start going really downhill real fast.
I hear the AI companies aren't making a lot of money right now. Somebody think of the stock market's feelings.
I'm so sad.
They are Rosetta Stoning the Goblin at work tomorrow.
Whoa, that's wild.
Also, I'm very curious now if J.K. Rowling stole this from the Dragonlance books or if this was a thing running in fantasy, but I just want to point out, every one of these chapters has like a sick little drawing. Like there's a skeleton warrior raising from the dead at the beginning of this chapter. There's like a very literal name of what's going on in the chapter and a little sketch of like whatever creature or thing they're encountering per chapter. It reminds me of like Harry Potter. But then I also wonder, like in the audiobook, because I was talking with friends about this, and one of them wanted to check out the audiobook version. I was wondering, it's like, well, in the audiobook version, does the dude go like, Chapter 10, Darken Wood, The Dead Walk, Rastlin's Magic. There's a drawing of a sick skeleton coming out of the ground in full armor, and he has a lion shield and a longsword. He wears a crown. He has like a mullet or something. It's fucking cool.
Sick.
The only thing Tanis felt like, does he just like, you know, are you listening to the audiobook and you get to the chapter breaks and you get like chapter 16, A Bitter Choice, The Greatest Gift. There's a sick statue of what looks to be some kind of long-haired elfin lady, and she has all kinds of curves, and she's in a very light dress. One arm raised powerfully, and the other looking forward in a fist, and it seems she's in a hall. Tanis stared at Rasslin, not the quiver, and I look like, do you get the sketches? Because I feel like the sketches, it's kind of like when you're reading the Odyssey or Paradise Lost or Blood Meridian, and you know, the chapter has a little coda that gives you in brief what's happening, like it sets the atmosphere. Like chapter 3, The Slave Caravan, The Strange Old Magician. There's an empty slave cart with birds ominously looking over it, and I can't tell if it's the moon or the sun, but something's in the background. I hope that's the case. But yeah, Dragons of Autumn Winter by Margaret Rice and Tracy Hickman. It's been a fun thing to chew on. It's very mindless. The prose moves fast. You slice through those chapters. If you're trying to just like get back into a book and you want something fun that glides, go for it. JK only invented new racist ways to name and scheme a character. Yeah. All right, let's pull up the Bean Hameen. The projector's getting annoyed that I'm not staying on task.
Yeah, we want to hear more. Irish guy who blows stuff up. How original.
I don't even feel comfortable saying the Asian girlfriend Harry has in the fourth book's name anymore, just knowing what that woman does.
Never read the Harry Potter books.
That's fine.
Yep.
I think
got
that's
the point.
I think that's fine. Yeah.
Defend this area. Team.
See, Jacob, you know more leftist theory than Harry Potter.
Wild. Wild.
It makes me think again of the exhausted kind of like glib idea of like, oh, I've read theory. It's only made me cynical and miserable. And it's like, I don't think that's because you read theory. I think you may have been predisposed towards that position.
You were already an asshole before.
Yeah,
you came
yeah.
up with that.
This does get to a question of like time utility, I just wonder, or maybe it's just a lack of imagination on. I get frustrated when people talk to me about MCU stuff and I try to tell them like, well, I don't really follow the MCU, but I read comics and it seems like a way. Again, I don't want to spend hours fucking poring over what's going on in Doomsday or what's going on in Spider-Man Brand New Day or what MCU leaks are happening. They're just like corporate consent manufacturing.
Yeah.
I'll spend 20 minutes a month reading Ryan North's Fantastic Four, though. Like, just understanding that time trade-off, I don't know. I think a lot of people can benefit that. Get away from the shows. I'm glad nobody's talking about Mandalorian and Grogu, except in the context of how nobody's talking about it, because Obsession and Backrooms wiped the floor with it earlier this year.
Mm-hmm. We love that.
What is up? Elman as well never read Harry Potter.
Nice.
I read them. I
Nice.
mean, I also read Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six.
Defend this area. Team. Hold up here.
And Without Remorse. And The Hunt for the Red October. Having gone back, don't feel like it. Same way I don't feel like going back to Harry Potter. It's one of those things where I've just always felt the atmosphere Harry Potter was released in, where the books were like, this is a very small window of time because it was a commercial product from the get-go. I'm pretty sure there was a movie deal from the start. But like, when the first 4 books came out, before the first movie, or before the like second, third, before the films really took off, because those first 2 were not really heavily received in the way the rest were. I don't know, I liked Harry Potter, and it seemed to be part of a bigger general push to like go out and read. Like, read a book, go to your library, read more books. Like, I don't know, with Harry Potter reading, to me came the idea that I should be reading more books beyond Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's a type of fan the later franchise format made that didn't pick up on that Scholastic Book Fair message of like, check out Animorphs, check out Captain Underpants. Here's a collection of Edgar Allan Poe stories. You might like old stuff.
Move in. Hit their positions.
Here's some manga. Here's Bone.
Find that shooter.
And again, if you have the time to reread Harry Potter, why not read something new?
Mm-hmm.
Try something a little different.
Yeah, man. Harry Potter's always gonna be there. Barney.
Barnabas, she's saying words, but we're not listening to her.
Come on, Barney.
Get back here. You heard me. Regroup. Come on. Defend. Do it.
Also the same with the movies. I watch all in DM because people invite me all previous ones, but not the last two. Yeah, 3-2. Like there were too many bad movies and series to keep up with. Like when it was 1 or 2 a year, people were keeping up in general, even when they weren't the greatest.
Defend this area. Take it easy. Here you go. Try this. This should help. Scan that.
But I don't know, it feeds into kind of Ferreri's idea of like recognizing what you're submerged in. Like how are you spending your time, and is it like emotionally exhausting for you to participate in your hobbies you're saying you love? Mm-hmm. Or are you just addicted to the grievage engine of it all? Alright, if you check the pinned if you check the pinned message in the chat, you will see Walter Benjamin's On the Concept of History. It also has a sketch with it. I don't think it's just Sheely's sketch. I forget the artist who drew the Angel of History, or maybe it is Sheely. I'll look that up in a moment, or maybe it's credited at the end here. No. Alright. If you want to follow along, I'm going to be reading from that in a moment. Actually, let me catch up with the chat first. Gnarly, I never read any Robert Ludlum. Did you read any John Le Carre? Gnarly, what spy stuff have you read? Because I have The Spy Who Came into the Cold waiting for me.
Consider it done.
Yeah, Kingsley Shacklebolt.
Defend. You heard me.
This time trade-off thing, this is what I've always kind of valued about movies, or valued over TV. Aside from like the idea of like broadcast TV is like a top-down power structure mandate channeling thing more than a medium for art. Just like good movie, bad movie, after 2 hours, like you've seen a thing. You can talk about it, you can laugh at it, you can interact with it. It is whole. If it's really good, it might give you a lot to think about. If it's really bad, it might make you question, like, why did that suck so hard? What am I doing with my life? But you're not there for 10 episodes.
Barney, get over here.
I also just think on the production side, when it comes to film, like, you can get, international independent cinema and the perspectives of others far more through that than you can a heavily mediated, like, TV broadcast pipeline. You can get The People's Joker, you can get Yeti Another Love Story. I watched a film called Detective Ike on Tubi the other day with the boys. It was a Columbo parody made in like 2020. It was pretty funny. Stavros Halkias was in it for like 10 seconds.
Defend this area. Come on. Hold up here.
Don't Let the River Beast Get You, another great one. Shout out to Michael Burns for getting Leave a Comment out there. I did the coloring on that, actually.
Nice.
I know he has a screening, I think either in Philadelphia or Chicago. Check out Michael Burns' socials. He's getting Leave a Comment screened places. I think it's going to screen at Hyperreal at some point in Austin.
Oh, hell
I
yeah.
don't know for sure, though. Chat, please don't clip this. I don't know if I'm leaking secrets. I'm saying support Michael Burns, though. He supports me.
Yep. Artists supporting other artists.
The Tubi movies, Detective Ike, I linked it in the Discord 3-2, which we're gonna watch The Return. Jacob, I'm considering Masters of the Universe. It's out now on digital.
Whoa. Probably the only way I'll watch it.
Yeah, same.
Defend here. Everybody.
Kill those guys.
I'm more curious to check out Masters of the Universe than I am Mandalorian Grogu, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Eliminate target. Let's take them out.
Yeah, after The Return, I've not yet decided what we're watching next. I know I threw a few things up on the drive for people to look at. I will also just be considering it. Again, I have a few more acquisitions I'm thinking of. I have it all written out on a document that only a select few can see. By select few, I mean Jacob and Lux and Serge, and I think Wizworld. Anyone who's who's made a guest appearance on this show has access to the Discord. And chat, we do say, hey, if you have a strong idea and you're not weird with us, come on our Discord and we'll have you over for a game.
It's true.
I recently got a subscription to Clark's World magazine, which I find pretty funny because Jacob listened to the Clark's World podcast, and we've never spoken. I don't think we really ever mentioned to each other being fans of Clark's World.
Yeah, no, I found it through an old high school friend.
Yeah, Jacob just found through the podcast. I just found it through like the online like version. But they were doing a push on Blue Sky for subs, and I was like, you know what? I'm of the middle age. I want a little zine I can have coffee and flip through, and read some short fiction and nonfiction.
Defend here. All of you, I'll wait right here.
See, John, this is also why I have yet to do YouTube, because I know we've streamed the movies on Twitch before, and I think Twitch is kind of don't ask, don't tell, you know, don't say, don't snitch. Because Melania only got flagged for the copyrighted music, that's muted, but like that's not even like one of those hard like 3 strikes and you're out copyright things. They just muted those tracks on the Twitch VOD. And I've seen some other affiliate friends who do like TV shows and react stuff, and it seems like if you're transforming the work enough and you're doing it like right, I think you can get away with a bit more on Twitch than YouTube in that regards. So who knows, Jacob, maybe we'll have another like movie night where we just play and watch something. Or we just watch and riff on something.
That does sound real fun.
Yeah. Although to be honest, I might starting next week once I get like some projects and stuff done. Like I'm just wrapped on some stuff as far as both Burns and Lux work goes. I might squeeze in more just pure gaming sessions because you've been playing so much Freedom Fighters, and
I really have.
I'm craving my furries.
And fair.
All right, now that we've thoroughly not talked about Walter Benjamin for almost a solid hour. Nah, it's been shorter than that. But I'm going to get to reading. I'm going to turn the game down just a little. Yeah, 3-2. You know what I'm talking about.
Search over there. Let's go. Yes, sir.
Raiders of the Lost Ark face building it. Speaking of, Jacob's been playing the Indiana Jones game.
It's so good.
What if big people?
Stand your ground.
What if big people?
All right, Walter Benjamin on the concept of history, often referred to as Theses on the Philosophy of History. 1. The story is told of an automaton constructed in such a way that it could play a winning game of chess, answering each move of an opponent with a countermove. A puppet in Turkish attire and with a hookah in its mouth sat before a chessboard placed on a large table. A system of mirrors created the illusion that this table was transparent from all sides. Actually, a little hunchback who was an expert chess player sat inside the guided the puppet's hand by means of strings. One can imagine a philosophical counterpart to this device. The puppet, called historical materialism, is to win all the time. It can easily be a match for anyone if it enlists the services of theology, which today, as we know, is wizened and has to keep out of sight.
Take it easy.
2. One of the most remarkable characteristics of human nature, writes Lotz, is alongside so much selfishness in specific instances, the freedom from envy which the present displays towards the future. Reflection shows us that our image of happiness is thoroughly colored by the time to which the course of our own existence has assigned us. The kind of happiness that could arouse envy in us exists only in the air we have breathed, among people we could have talked to, women who could have given themselves to us. In other words, our image of happiness is indissolubly bound up with the image of redemption. The same applies to our view of the past, which is the concern of history. The past carries with it a temporal index by which it is referred to redemption. There is a secret agreement between past generations and the present one. Our coming was expected on earth. Like every generation that preceded us, we've been endowed with a weak messianic power, a power to which the past has claim. That claim cannot be settled cheaply. Historical materialists are aware of that. 3. A chronicler who recites events without distinguishing between major and minor ones acts in accordance with the following truth. Nothing that has ever happened should be regarded as lost for history. To be sure, only a redeemed mankind receives this fullness of past, which is to say, only for a redeemed mankind has it become citable in all its moments. Each moment it has lived becomes a citation, a l'ordre du jour. That is, day is judgment day. Seek for food and clothing first, then the kingdom of God shall be added unto you. Hegel, 1807, Part 4. The class struggle, which is always present to a historian influenced by Marx, is a fight for the crude and material things without which no refined and spiritual things could exist. Nevertheless, it is not in the form of the spoils which fall to the victor that the latter make their presence felt in the class struggle. They manifest themselves in the struggle as courage, humor, cunning, and fortitude. They have retroactive force and will constantly call in question every victory, past and present, of the rulers. As flowers turn toward the sun, by dint of a secret heliotropism, the past strives to turn toward that sun which is rising in the sky of history. As historical materialists must be aware of this most inconspicuous of all transformations. 5. The true picture of the past flits by. The past can be seized only as an image, which flashes up at the instant when it can be recognized and is never seen again. The truth will not run away from us. In the historical outlook of historicism, these words of Gottfried Keller mark the exact point where historical materialism cuts through historicism. For every image of the past that is not recognized by the present as one of its own concerns threatens to disappear irretrievably. The good tidings which the historian of the past brings with throbbing heart may be lost in the void the very moment he opens his mouth. I believe I shared it on the Discord. I can't remember the author off the top of my head. There's a really good Back to the Future essay going around like 2 weeks ago. The point of the essay being that like nostalgia is created in the present. Like, you know, nostalgia is not how the 50s actually were. It's what the 80s wants to remember about the 50s, what we want to remember about the Bush era.
The good.
What we want to remember about the 90s, what we want to remember about the 2003s. I can't believe I've seen essays trying to do like Nickelback is good actually.
That shit was genuinely so funny.
I agree that like they became the tired punchline of a joke, but they were just a very made for the radio post-grunge mess of just genericism.
Yeah, they were, I mean, they were just there.
But yeah, keep in mind that the freedom from envy which the present displays towards the future. No envy for the future. There's a freedom from it we display in thinking about our history and what we chronicle and the kind of like crafting and legends we tell ourselves. But the future? I mean, the future is the last of us, you know?
Mm-hmm. I don't know where I'm going to find this C4.
I wonder if we despair in that sense as like some means of wanting to create immediacy, like a procrastinator trying to like hype themselves into doing something 20 minutes before it's due. So things have to be apocalyptic. Things have to be of the highest order. I just wonder if that's a tick within there. I'm just going to read that section 5 again as we continue on. The true picture of the past flits by. The past can be seized only as an image which flashes up at the instant when it can be recognized and is never seen again. The truth will not run away from us. In the historical outlook of historicism, these words by Gottfried Keller mark the exact point where historical materialism cuts through historicism. For every image of the past that is not recognized by the present as one of its own concerns threatens to disappear irretrievably. That phrase just keeps getting to me. For every image of the past that is not recognized by the present as one of its own concerns threatens to disappear irretrievably. Jacob, I understand you've been listening to a Renegade History of the United States, the Thaddeus Russell book.
Yeah. What a great book.
There was something else you were listening to recently. Oh, is it the comedy stuff as well?
Oh yeah, the comedians.
The point is, you've been listening to some American history stuff that like brings up just like the way like the queer history of the United States has led to like certain cultural developments.
Yeah.
And I think about the Nazis' book burning and the denial of queer people in history and the making invisible of queer people in historical records as a means of, well, for every image of the past that's not recognized by the present as one of its own concerns threatens to disappear irretrievably. Like if you keep erasing that strain of history, if you keep erasing queer history, queer persons' participation in the continuity of things, it adds to that schizophrenic sense of like, oh, they're new, oh, this is something novel, and oh, this is something like, yeah, this is something invading. This is something we have to be vigilant about in the now because it's never happened before.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, no, these people have existed historically.
That we found the whole time and hasn't been an issue.
Time. Oh. For every image of the past that is not recognized by the present as one of its own concerns threatens to disappear irretrievably. The good tidings which the historian of the past brings up with throbbing heart may be lost in a void the very moment he opens his mouth. I saw a good quote tweet on a skeet, or a quote skeet, I guess, on Blue Sky. It was just like there's no good faith arguments about trans people in women's sports. Like,
yeah,
like don't like no, like it's only bad faith actors who talk about in that space as proxy for dehumanizing rights in the greater broader sense.
Yep, we don't need that.
I had a very hard time playing Secret Hitler with a very shit-lib-brained friend at one point because I was trying to rationalize with them like, well, like I'm not gonna leave fascism on my political compass. That's just like off the table.
Yeah, that's
like
not
you don't have to consider it in the grand like plurality of like consensus building. Like these people are saying like we have to exterminate these people. It's like, yeah, no, that's nowhere on my compass. Sorry, you're not at this table.
We don't need that.
Yeah, Josh, Secret Hitler. It's like a party game, board game. It's not a board game. It's like a card game. There's like a mock parliamentary process you have on. It's like a game from like 8 players. I don't want to walk through step by step how Secret Hitler works on stream in the middle of this Benjamin, but basically you and like 5 to 8 friends can do like a mock Congress, but the thing is like one of your friends is secretly like a fascist dictator trying to enact like an overthrow of the government. Mm-hmm. And depending on how many people you have at the table, they may have 1 or 2 other collaborators in the congressional body. So it's a game where like you have to bluff your way into overthrowing the government if you're on the fascist side.
It's kind of like Werewolf. But
kind of like Werewolf, yeah.
But being a Secret Hitler.
And if you're on the liberal side, you have to prevent that from happening. But as we know in the actual historical record of material consequence, liberalism just kind of slides into fascism. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joe, it's a variation. There's many variations of it. There's like a version called like Avalon where it's like you're the Knights of the Round Table and someone's like Morgan Le Fay.
See what's over there. All of you, attack, destroy that obstacle. Recon and get them in their position.
It's true, Gundam taught me. Alright, 6. To articulate the past historically does not mean to recognize it the way it really was. It means to seize hold of a memory as it flashes up at a moment of danger. Historical materialism wishes to retain that image of the past which unexpectedly appears to man singled out by history at a moment of danger. The danger affects both the content of the tradition and its receivers. The same threat hangs over both, that of becoming a tool of the ruling classes. In every era, the attempt must be made anew to wrest tradition away from a conformism that is about to overpower it. The Messiah comes not only as the Redeemer, he comes as the subduer of Antichrist. Only that historian will have the gift of fanning the spark of hope in the past who is firmly convinced that even the dead will not be safe from the enemy if he wins, and this enemy has not ceased to be victorious. Okay.
Damn, yeah.
Yeah, damn. Okay, so there was a news item we shared in the Discord earlier in the week about AI companies buying old books, scanning them, and then burning the originals. And if we just let these motherfuckers scan all the data and burn all the hard copies and then crash the fucking grid and all those fucking servers go down, we will lose the record of the dead. I know this sounds very like evangelical and poetic, but like it is also just that is literally what would be happening. All your medical info, like not even like, I'm not even talking about in the aesthetic sense, like the great art of the world. I'm talking about just like how are you going to get your social security payments if you're elderly? How are you going to like pay your property taxes? How's the state going to manage? How's a hospital going to like easily retain and track medical info? How's a supermarket going to manage its logistics? Like if all this shit just woes down, in every era, the attempt must be made anew to wrest tradition away from a conformism that is about to overpower it. I think this is very important too, because talking about the Odyssey, talking about D&D, talking about all these things where it's like, well, if you go back 30, 40 years, they're just as woke in the sense if we're going by contemporary standards. Like, what you do when you act like everything old is new, or if this is the first time, when you're in that state of postmodern schizophrenia where everything's new and you always have to create new and create new and create new, you make it sound as if you have to create new instead of like, no, we're reaffirming what works of the past. Like that idea of like reaffirming what works of the past, just in general being a reactionary or a conservative traditionalist one, like they've won in that sense. Like they've co-opted the language to mean that instead of being like, yeah, I want to go back to the Eugene Debs of the world. I want to go back to like the stronger labor movement of the Gilded Age, of, you know, what we were doing in the Gilded Age with rioting and protesting and making sure like people had their rights secured. I'm a traditionalist for the tax standards of the 40s and 50s. Because I've come across so many people who like will discard the classics because they think they're stodgy or old or they don't have like things in them. And this is something we've talked about when talking about Paradise Lost is like a Coen Brothers movie. It's like, no, there's still like lively things within the past. And like there is, I mean, Moby Dick opens with Ishmael and Queequeg getting married. And it's only more sperm from there, fellas. Just saying. I think I don't know. I think American liberalism imagines having to recreate everything, or creates this exhausted sense of revolution, meaning a recreation of everything, instead of a reconciliation of like these historical strains of American leftism. I mean, we don't learn about Ludlow. We don't learn about the Harlan County War. We don't learn about Porvenir. Like that's not shit they teach us in schools. There's an intentional like lack of consciousness in the omission of those facts. Like again, the danger affects both the content and the tradition and of the tradition and its receivers. The same threat hangs over both, that of becoming a tool of the ruling classes. In every era, the attempt must be made anew to wrest tradition away from a conformism that is about to overpower it. I know One Dime, Tony of One Dime. I think he has a Substack. he was posting an article recently about rethinking the negative connotations of nationalism, and I see what he's saying there. I feel like it's a bit of a volatile label as far as like saying like nationalism is good actually, and like it is incendiary. Like I get why people might be apprehensive to seeing that, but think about how when we're reading Freire in Pedagogy of the Oppressed, he talks about localism and going into an area and talking with the workers and the people of the community and figuring out what they need on the ground there and how they can be assisted in like a non-judgmental way. Like you do need to have that sense of local community, and like culture does have traditions and mores and norms and like a sense of shame and a sense of other things. It's just a matter of like at what scales do these things become, you know, managed in a macro sense, in an authoritarian traditionalist sense, and at what point do people cease to control the soul of the thing? If I'm to, I mean, that may be like woo-woo phrasing, but also like, do you want AI running everything?
Not really.
I saw a LinkedIn post that was like sharing some AI bot that's there to be like your producer. Like it's an AI content producer that manages your socials for you. I use my social media to see like what weird fiction writers are up to, what weird fiction publications are up to, what YouTubers I follow are doing, what film critics I follow are seeing and suggesting. Like I react to it, I consume it, yes, but then I'm in dialogue with it. Why would I want to audit? Like, I do my own posts, and I do posts for the Technopoverty channel, yes, but like, why would I just automate that to not look at it and just kind of hope it makes me money? That's so cynical and just fucking boring.
It's just nothing.
Yeah.
That's just a nothing.
All right, I'm just gonna read part 6 again because goddamn, I love you being mean. To articulate the past historically does not mean to recognize it the way it really was. It means to seize hold of a memory as it flashes up at the moment of danger. Historical materialism wishes to retain that image of the past which unexpectedly appears to man singled out by history at a moment of danger. The danger affects both the content of the tradition and its receivers. The same threat hangs over both. That of becoming a tool of the ruling classes. I didn't like the tone error then. The same threat hangs over both. That of becoming a tool of the ruling classes. In every era, the attempt must be made anew to wrest tradition away from a conformism that is about to overpower it. The Messiah comes not only as the Redeemer, he comes as the subduer of Antichrist. Only that historian will have the gift of fanning the spark of hope in the past, who is firmly convinced that even the dead will not be safe from the enemy if he wins, and this enemy has not ceased to be victorious. Part 7. Consider the darkness and the great cold, in this veil which resounds with mystery. Brecht, The Threepenny Opera. To historians who wish to relive an era, Fustel de Coulanges recommends that they blot out everything they know about the later course of history. There is no better way of characterizing the method of which historical materialism has broken. It is a process of empathy whose origin is the indolence of the heart, acedia, which despairs of grasping and holding the genuine historical image as it flares up briefly. Among medieval theologians, it was regarded as the root cause of sadness. Flaubert, who was familiar with it, wrote, "The nature of..." Oh, wait. Oh, is there a translation? Yeah. "Few will be able to guess how sad one had to be in order to resuscitate Carthage. The nature of this sadness stands out more clearly if one asks with whom the adherents of historicism actually empathize. The answer is inevitable. With the victor." Yeah. I've always, like, my bloodline is from all the winners of history. Why else would I be here? I'm a winner, just like my entire bloodline. The blood is magic, man.
Blood's magic.
The answer is inevitable, with the victor, and all rulers are the heirs of those who conquered before them. Hence, empathy with the victor invariably benefits the rulers. Historical materialists know what that means. Whoever has emerged victorious participates to this day in the triumphal procession in which the present rulers step over those who are lying prostrate. According to traditional practice, the spoils are carried along in the procession. They are called cultural treasures, and a historical materialist views them with cautious detachment. For without exception, the cultural treasures he surveys have an origin which he cannot contemplate without horror. For without exception, the cultural treasures he surveys have an origin which he cannot contemplate without horror. They owe their existence not only to the efforts of the great minds and talents who have created them, but also to the anonymous toil of their contemporaries. There's no document of civilization which is not at the same time a document of barbarism. And just as such a document is not free of barbarism, barbarism taints also the manner in which it is transmitted from one owner to the other. A historical materialist therefore dissociates himself from it as far as possible. He regards it as his task to brush history against the grain. I just can't know too much. It'll be too sad, Jacob.
You know, I got you.
Cool, you got you a quick save point.
Yeah. So I cleared one area. We're gonna go to another location. Is it the docks? No.
Wow, you got like a whole little island you're seizing, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think I'm gonna be able to get up to like 12 guys, which is really
12 dudes at once?
Yeah.
What a party.
You know? Watch it. I'm gonna sick these guys on these assholes over here.
You know, at what point, like, I get where it goes from like a threesome to group sex. At what point does it go from group sex to an orgy? Actually, and also where in the hierarchy is it group sex then gangbang then orgy, or like?
Man, it's actually a really good question. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm inexperienced in these ways. Part 8. The tradition of the oppressed teaches us that the state of emergency in which we live is not the exception, but the rule. We must attain to a conception of history that is in keeping with this insight. Yeah, we're always in a state of emergency, aren't we, Jacob?
Always, since I was a child.
We have to like give infinite money to ICE so that we can take care of the forever emergency.
Listen, Israel needs free healthcare, but we don't need free healthcare because we're on that grind set, you know?
I have a follow-up question, 32. Wait, 32 is the question? Oh, 32. It crosses over at 4 to 5 people. Okay. From group to gang? I mean, legally a gang is 3 or more people, which is stupid. I kind of actually want to go with 3-2. Like, I think a gang should be 5 or more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds more fitting.
Oh yeah, we got more Riz.
Oh, 4.5 people. I just can't see the monitor with my squinty eyes.
Mm-hmm.
32, I don't think that counts. I don't think somebody's less of a person for missing limbs. Come on now.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Now, if it's like a weigh-in, that might be something we might consider.
I mean, getting back to women's sports, I want to be a huge troll about it and just be like, just abolish gender in sports and go purely by weight class.
I'm so for that.
Yeah.
Genuinely so for that. It's like, who's the best? It's like, all right, boys versus girls. Who's actually the best? Like,
strictly by weight class.
Yep.
Had to reread this to ensure he wasn't talking to me specifically. We need history, but not the way a spoiled loafer in the garden of knowledge needs it. Nietzsche, or on the use and abuse of history. Right. Yeah, to what purpose is your historical selection is kind of what Benjamin starts getting at too with this angel thing. Because he's talking about the grief now, and like, yeah, we have that nostalgic selection towards like what we find pertinent to the moment. Like, what we're nostalgic for about the 80s now isn't the shitty low-res version of like the neon look. It's the high-res Blade Runner 2049 version of that aesthetic. The Tron 3 version of that aesthetic. What up, AR Berlin? You joined us right as we were in the middle of some Walter Benjamin and some freedom fighters. All right, part 8. The tradition of the oppressed teaches us that the state of emergency in which we live is not the exception, but the rule. We must attain to a conception of history that is in keeping with this insight. Then we shall clearly realize that it's our task to bring about a real state of emergency, and this will improve our position in the struggle against fascism. One reason why fascism has a chance is that in the name of progress, its opponents treat it as a historical norm. The current amazement that the things we are experiencing are still possible in the 20th century is not philosophical. This amazement is not the beginning of knowledge, unless it is knowledge that the view of history which gives rise to it is untenable. Damn. Haha, gnarly's on minoxidil. Gulp. Part 8. The tradition of the oppressed teaches us that the state of emergency in which we live is not the exception, but the rule. We must attain to a conception of history that is in keeping with this insight. This is why I really love Sturgeon's law. I know it applies to art, but I think it also refers to how we conceive of history. Jacob, 90% of everything's crap. We've said this before on the channel.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing.
I don't think we're gonna make it in any history books. I think of how many of us aren't doing that.
I think of how much to the sands of time.
Yeah, how much of the world is not documented in the ledger of history? It's lensed through, as Benjamin's pointing out. You know, historically, like it's a chain of states of emergencies. You know, we start getting into ideas of like the one just man theory, or the one strong man kind of historical individualist theory, where it's just like, oh yeah, history is a chain of kings and events with a clear causal narrative. No, that narrative is a fiction, and it is a straining of reality. It is maybe 12% of reality at most, if I'm going to be generous here. But I think Theodore Sturgeon's onto something when 90% of everything's crap. So much of the American West was founded by women, sex workers more specifically. The dudes were out there getting killed in the hills. The women were the ones making the towns happen. Yep. I know that's a bit of a crass phrasing of history, and I'm not being the most feminist in my descriptors here, but...
read a book.
Yeah, read a book. Support sex work. Once again, we are on the run from the bigwigs. We are beings from a parallel dimension. As such, Technopoverty is a work of parody. Although that does not mean we're being insincere or completely detached with what we find worth talking to you about.
Very true. Hell yeah. Love my boys.
Yeah, I'm on minoxidil, and then I talk, there I go again. Gnarly. Yeah, are you just trying to get me to say things to clip for the AI overlords? It's like Roko's basilisk. Yeah, we must attain to a conception of history that's in keeping with this insight that, you know, maybe the state of emergency thing is a narrative, but we do need to have, instead of maybe a revolution, a resolution. We're just going to keep revolving unless we reconcile this into a resolute thing.
You say you want a resolution. You say you want a resolution.
Because getting back to like conception of violence and means and ends, like what is the ends, I mean like a No Kings rally, to be mean to the libs for a moment, but like are we just changing management? Like do we just want Hakeem Jeffries to be president or something? Like we're gonna go be mad for a day, but it's just to facilitate like further DNC stuff. Is that really a revolutionary conception or a rebellious conception? Is that, as Benjamin says, then we shall clearly realize that's our task to bring about a real state of emergency, for this will improve our position in the struggle against fascism. Do we just want to clock in and do the same 9 to 5, except, oh, Trump's not president, yay. Like, will that really make your life better otherwise?
Yeah, like, is that what we truly want?
Resolution, a revolutionary fragrance coming spring 2027 from TECHNOPOVERTY.
Guess.
Cauchy bet for Henry saying product name. Wait, you don't feel insecure or self-conscious about losing your hair? Until 5 minutes ago, what happened? Then we shall clearly realize that it's our task to bring about a real state of emergency, and for this we'll improve our position in the struggle against fascism. One reason why fascism has a chance is that in the name of progress, its opponents treat it as a historical norm. The current amazement that the things we're experiencing are still possible in the 20th century is not philosophical. This amazement is not the beginning of knowledge, unless it is the knowledge that the view of history which gives rise to it is untenable. 9. My wing is ready for flight. I would like to turn back. If I stayed timeless time, I would have a little luck. Gerhard Schlom, Gruss vom Angelus. Klee is the painter. Okay, so he's going to reference a painting in this part, which, again, if you check the pinned comment, I'm reading from the link above the pinned comment. I mean, the pinned message in the chat has the painting he's talking about as well. A Klee painting named Angelus Novus shows an angel looking as though he's about to move away from something he is fixedly contemplating. His eyes are staring, his mouth is open, his wings are spread. This is how one pictures the angel of history. His face is turned towards the past. Where we perceive a chain of events, he sees one single catastrophe, which keeps piling wreckage and hurls in front of his feet. Where we perceive a chain of events, he sees one single catastrophe, which keeps piling wreckage and hurls it in front of his feet. The angel would like to stay, awaken the dead, and make whole what has been smashed. But a storm is blowing in from paradise. It has got caught in its wings with such a violence that the angel can no longer close them. The storm irresistibly propels him into the future to which his back is turned, while the pile of debris before him grows skyward. This storm is what we call progress. 10. The themes which monastic discipline assigned to friars for meditation were designed to turn them away from the world and its affairs. The thoughts which we are developing here originate from similar considerations. At a moment when the politicians in whom the opponents of fascism had placed their hopes are prostrate and confirmed their defeat by betraying their own cause, these observations are intended to disentangle the political worldlings from the snares in which the traitors have entrapped them. Our consideration proceeds from the insight that the politicians' stubborn faith in progress, their confidence in their mass basis, and finally, their servile integration into an uncontrollable apparatus have been three aspects of the same thing. It seeks to convey an idea of the high price of our accustomed thinking will have to pay for a conception of history that avoids any complacency with the thinking to which these politicians continue to adhere. 11. The conformism which has been part and parcel of social democracy from the beginning attaches not only to its political tactics, but to its economic views as well. It is one reason for its later breakdown. Nothing has corrupted the German working class so much as the notion that it was moving with the current. It regarded technological developments as the fall of the stream with which it had thought it was moving. From there it was but a step to the illusion that the factory work which was supposed to tend towards technological progress constituted a political achievement. The old Protestant ethics of work was resurrected among German workers in a secularized form. The Gotha program already bears traces of this confusion, defining labor as the source of all wealth and all culture. Smelling a rat, Marx countered that. The man who possesses no other property than his labor power must of necessity become the slave of other men who have made themselves the owners. However, the confusion spread, and soon thereafter, Joseph Zietzken proclaimed, "The savior of modern times is called work. The improvement of labor constitutes the wealth which is now able to accomplish what no redeemer has ever been able to do." This vulgar Marxist conception of the nature of labor bypasses the question of how its products might benefit the workers while still not being at their disposal. It recognizes only the progress in the mastery of nature, not the retrogression of society. It already displays the technocratic features later encountered in fascism. Among these is a conception of nature, which differs ominously from the one in socialist utopias before the 1848 revolution. The new conception of labor amounts to the exploitation of nature, which with naive complacency is contrasted with the exploitation of the proletariat. Compared with the positivistic conception, Fourier's fantasies, which have so often been ridiculed, prove to be surprisingly sound. According to Fourier, as a result of efficient cooperative labor, full moons would illuminate the earthly night, the ice would recede from the poles, seawater would no longer taste salty, and beasts of prey would do man's bidding. All this illustrates a kind of labor which, far from exploiting nature, is capable of delivering her of the creations which lie dormant in her womb as potentials. Nature, which as Dietzen puts it, exists gratis, is a complement to the corrupted conception of labor. Yeah, the Protestant idea of like the land is to be tilled, the earth speaks to me. It makes me think of Hearst in Deadwood. It is a shame to not put the land to use for my pursuits of capital. But also that changing of like, oh, the land needs to be worked instead of you need to work the land. I'm now realizing the show's literally fucking called Landman. Like,
yeah. It's a really good point. It's really frustrating.
Like, it might as well just be called conservative property rights conception, not how it actually works, how they think it does.
How they want it to work.
This job does not actually work, the show. This job is not actually real, the show, yeah. Yeah, the wave analysis guy, I believe, Ja. He's being like hyperbolic in like the scientific racism of the time. Or as he called, what he's pointing out too is like the technocratic tendencies of fascism.
It's different. Hoisting a second flag.
Nice. We need history, but not the way it's... Yeah. Hey, Ja, have you read this by chance? It opens with a quote. 12. We need history, but not the way a spoiled loafer in the Garden of Knowledge needs it. Nietzsche, on the use and abuse of history. Not man or men, but the struggling, oppressed class itself is the depository of historical knowledge. In Marx, it appears as the last enslaved class, as the avenger that completes the task of liberation in the name of generations of the downtrodden. This conviction, which had a brief resurgence in the Spartacist group, has always been objectionable to social democrats. The Spartacist group was a leftist group founded by Karl Liebknecht and Rosa Luxemburg at the beginning of World War I, in opposition to the pro-war policies of the German socialist parties, later absorbed by the Communist Party. Yeah, I believe they executed Rosa the Luxemburgs for being communists. The Social Democrats surrendered them. Oh man, are we gonna get President AOC? I've been seeing them chattering about it.
I don't think so. People want it, but I don't think.
I'm kind of curious how Abdul El-Sayed does, because he's been kind of doing the like, I'm not a socialist, I'm just sensible sort of like thing on it. I'm curious how that plays over versus maybe more straightforward socialist stuff. Although I did see something about Gina Espinosa polling 1% ahead of Abbott in the mayoral.
Really?
I mean, not the mayoral, the governor race.
That would be fucking incredible.
What up, Kirsten?
What up?
Joe, I'll look it up during the break or once I'm done with the reading, because I feel I'm going to finish this before we get to the end of tonight's session, so I'll have some time in the back half to either read a short story or check out more references and spitball more. But I believe Benjamin's just using Fourier as like a citation of like scientism at the time that he's skeptical of. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna control everything. We're gonna control the animals of the earth and.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Within 3 decades, they managed. Okay, I'm just going to start from the top on 12 again. Not man or men, but the struggling oppressed class itself is the depository of historical knowledge. In Marx, it appears as the last enslaved class, as the avenger that completes the task of liberation in the name of generations of the downtrodden. This is, again, why I bring up listening to Black American thought, Black American art, Black American philosophy. As the bottom of the totem pole oppressed class, they've dealt with the machinations of the American slave system the longest. They've had the longest running tradition of resistance and revolt against said system. There's shit you can learn from it. Mm-hmm. And not just in the aestheticizing, like, loafer sense of like having history that you have on your bookshelf to be like, oh yes, I've read some James Baldwin, or like, oh yes, I own some Spike Lee films. Like, no, like, have you read Fanon? Have you read, like, what have you read of the Baldwin? Did you read The Fire Next Time? Did you read If Beale Street Could Talk? There was a movie. What's going on there?
What got you?
Have you read any Iceberg Slim? Have you read any Octavia Butler? Have you read any Samuel Delany? Have you read any Du Bois? That's not Soul of the Black Folk. Have you read Soul of the Black Folk? It's not a bad read. I'm just, there's other books he wrote, like Darkwater.
Mm-hmm.
Jaw, did you see the scene in poll saying 30% of Democrats identify as Democratic Socialists? I must admit, right? I believe that. I've been saying it here on the channel, and like you can see it palpably. Like on the ground, people who call themselves Democrats are calling to straight up Minecraft Donald Trump in like very explicit terms in ways that the people in chairs of power are scared to say, even though they're supposed to be the opposition party. It's that thing I brought up before, Jaw, when I was being kind of harsh on Burns, although it's still a good video. It's just I'm at a different spot where I don't need like a vibes-based entryway into like commie pilling my family. And why I don't think we need to shy away from like being called communist or socialist, because like
It's what it's called.
Yeah, it's what it's called. It's what people are aware of, what like propaganda has been run against them in the sense of making it sound like a bad word. Also, I noticed the battery light's flashing, Jacob, so if the camera dies in a moment here, we might just pick up on chapter 12 afterwards. Chat, if the camera happens to die, we'll hit that break screen and get back to you, but yeah, as I said before, I don't think people need to be scared about labeling themselves as such or calling themselves as such. At this point, it's not that we need like a Joe Rogan of the left, although I mean, Hassan Piker's doing some great stuff. And the thing is, Hassan Piker's not doing the Joe Rogan thing. Hassan Piker's going and supporting candidates and like directing resources towards like, getting people into phone banking and canvassing and all that kind of stuff. Like, he's doing more than what Joe Rogan does, and
Yeah.
I think Democrats wish Jamie Harrison could just do what Joe Rogan does and give them 4 hours to talk their ass off about nonsense, but like they don't rehearse that long.
Fuck Joe Rogan's silence with all the THCA and THC stuff here in Texas. It was someone who is adamantly for quote unquote freedoms. And
yeah.
Specifically, he hasn't said shit, and apparently him and just the sweetest little babies.
Whoa. Hello, welcome back to Technopoverty. I'm Henry.
I'm Jacob.
That's Barney.
Yeah, it is, and she is so cozy right now.
We're working through the end of Freedom Fighters while reading Walter Benjamin's On the Theory of History, or Theses on History. Theses? Theses? Thesi? We're talking about history with Walter Benjamin. We're working through the end of Freedom Fighters. We read Walter Benjamin's Critique of Violence before, and Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed before that. It's been a fun series of woke church broadcasts as Jacob works through Freedom Fighters here and carries out the revolution.
Yep.
No resolution, just revolution.
That's all. Hell yeah. Because we said we want a resolution.
We should really bust out the halo for some truth and reconciliation.
Hell yeah, sometime.
Deuce.
Oh, what were we playing? Oh, the Lord of the Rings game the other day.
Oh yeah, the Return of the King? Oh, we should just hop on that then. You know, that's a restoration fantasy. That's about revolution as well.
You know what?
Highly recommend the Shelved by Genre podcast if you're familiar, or even if you're not familiar with Lord of the Rings. Or if you ever wanted to read Lord of the Rings and you've never gotten into it before. Shelved by Genre, it's a great show. It's the Range Touch Media guys. I really love Shelved by Genre and Just King Things. Cameron and Michael and Austin do some wonderful stuff. But they're going through Lord of the Rings right now. They're going through all the Tolkien, and they're just about done with Return of the King.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you like what we do here and you want to hear smart people with more precision talk about it in a focused, programmed way because it's a podcast and not a stream.
Might be a little up your alley sometimes, you know?
Yeah, Cameron Kunzelman does some great games writing as well. They have a podcast, Game Study Buddies, but I find it not as easy to get into as Just King Things or Shelved by Genre because when they're talking about theory and not just like narrative, I don't think the format works for me the same way. And I think that may be a fault of mine just because like I'm not the biggest podcast person. I feel weird as a millennial who, like, I listen to podcasts that sound like radio, if that makes sense. I don't really do, like, the narrative fiction, I don't know.
I do a couple, but
yeah.
It's really rare that...
I shouldn't say it sounds like radio, because radio had dramas in place, too. But I don't really take to podcasts.
You're not going for, like, stories.
Yeah.
Typically. Like, audiobook style. And audiobook either, I don't think, typically is...
I think what I do is I listen to podcasts as like news, maybe some comedy. Yeah, news and comedy, but not really like narrative or drama or...
I will say.
Maybe also I don't like deep listen for educational purposes, so like Game Study Buddies, which delves more into like theory and more serious stuff. It's not the same as like listening to them riff on Stephen King or talk about J.R.R. Tolkien and John Milton and other things I already have a deep appreciation for. You know what I mean? Like it's more parasocial, chilling with smart people than it is learning new things.
Yeah. Which sometimes it's almost like auditing a class that you don't have any of the background in. You're like, I mean, I can understand some of this stuff, but like it's not really a.
I think too with like Shelved by Genre and Just King Things, I've read enough of the material they're bouncing off of to where like there's Stephen King and Tolkien takes. Maybe not Tolkien takes. There's Stephen King and Gene Wolfe takes. I know I feel like differently than them on. And so because I don't have the same background on the stuff they talk about in Game Studies Buddies, it's not like I can like, it's not like I've exactly read the same things they've read and can spot where they're differing their opinions in the same way I've read like the Stephen King stuff they've read, and it's about like, oh yeah, I can see where they have a different view than me.
Yeah. It's like, I can see this. I see where it's coming from.
I wonder... I think about that with podcasts and like listening, and like we're talking about dialogue and anti-dialogue with Fieri, and I just don't have the tools, the vocabulary to be in dialogue with Game Study Buddies in the same way I am with Just King Things and Shelved by Genre. But yeah, also, because I always talk about Book of the New Sun, they have a very good couple episodes on Book of the New Sun as well, if you're looking to get into that series and feel a bit intimidated by it. That one can be a bit more daunting than Tolkien or Dragonlance. But boy howdy, am I having some fucking fun with Dragonlance. Chat, for the next few months, I'm probably just going to be fucking talking about Dragonlance on the side, but we'll see. Either that, or I'll find some way to like slide in Baldur's Gate 3 or something.
Man, there have been some really fun mods for Boulders.
Yeah, Joe, I do like Philosophize This. I like Philosophize This. I like Y Theory.
I used to like Radiolab a lot. They had some fun ones every once in a while. Got some weird things happening.
I do like, crap, I can't believe I forgot the American Prestige. I was about to say the Daniel Bessner one, but yeah, American Prestige. Stabby's World. Just the gamut of what you'd expect a 30-something millennial dude to listen to, maybe. No, because I don't really listen to, like, you know, the Rogan side of things.
I like Spooky Tales. I like, what's his name?
I like Otherworld.
Otherworld, that one's a fun one. There is the Night Owl podcast that my friend produces. That one's kind of fun.
You mentioned Clark's World. Like, you listen to Clark's World.
One.
See, I would have never thought to even look up, like, if there was a Clark's World pod. Like, I just don't seek listening to... I don't really do audiobooks, for instance.
Yeah. I'll dive into... Oh, what was it? Radio Rental is a good one if you like short, spooky stories that are kind of unnerving with, like, a little through line between. And it's got Rainn Wilson. So, you know, some fun, silly times. Do I have C4 yet? Why is there no C4 anywhere?
Not man or men, but the struggling, oppressed class itself is the depository of historical knowledge. In Marx, it appears as the last enslaved class, as the avenger that completes the task of liberation in the name of generations of the downtrodden. This conviction, which had a brief resurgence in the Spartacist group, has always been objectionable to social democrats. Within 3 decades, they managed virtually to erase the name of Blankwy, though it had been the rallying sound that had reverberated through the preceding century. Social democracy thought fit to assign to the working class the role of the redeemer of future generations, in this way cutting the sinews of its greatest strength. This training made the working class forget both its hatred and its spirit of sacrifice, for both are nourished by the image of enslaved ancestors rather than that of liberated grandchildren. Damn. This gets into what I talk about whenever I talk about the model minority stuff and the self-deprecating becoming the permission to like self-minimize. I can think of stories, I won't get specific with details, but just of like older Latino folk not wanting to share the more shameful like discrimination type stuff they faced in like say the 60s and 70s, leading to the kind of model minority stuff, you know, championed on with the Reagan Revolution. That's the thing, Reagan granted amnesty to a lot of illegal immigrants in the 80s, and then there was a huge push from the Republican think tank like groups and Republican media groups to like court like Latinos. That's kind of like a big push in the use of the word Hispanic to like separate like the Hispanic from the Latino in terms of like the greater diaspora of folk in America.
Weird.
If you're Hispanic, you're white. If you're European, you're from Spain. You're, you know, there's a historical lineage there that like you're just like the Pilgrims. Like your people came here and conquered.
Yep, you belong here.
You were never the oppressed. You were the oppressor. You always had the big truncheon.
It's fucking truncheons, baby.
And then, yeah, Hispanic in general being more from Spain, Latino being of like the greater Latin America. And again, it's all America, baby. South America, North America.
America.
United States is the Estados Unidos.
We're just going to hoist this flag that way we can get out of this little section. I was going to try to find the C4 and all that. Let's go to another location, baby.
Just saw the Charmed Up with Rainn Wilson a few days ago. Texas Truncheons would be a great baseball team name. They're just holding it there, dangling. Let it swing.
Yeah. I always forget that Rainn Wilson was in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Everything smells like garlic because I just made pizza. Philosophy. Hell yeah. What's on that pizza?
I'm guessing garlic's on that pizza, but that's crazy.
Anything, yeah, but I mean, besides it.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Social democracy thought fit to assign the working class the role of the redeemer of future generations, in this way cutting the sinews of its greatest strength. This training made the working class forget both its hatred and its spirit of sacrifice, for both are nourished by the image of enslaved ancestors rather than that of liberated grandchildren. 13. Every day our cause becomes clearer and people get smarter. Willem Dietzen. Die Religion die Sozialdemokratie. Social democratic theory, and even more its practice, have been formed by a conception of progress which did not adhere to reality, but made dogmatic claims. Progress as pictured in the minds of social democrats was, first of all, the progress of mankind itself, and not just advances in men's ability and knowledge. Secondly, it was something boundless, in keeping with the infinite perfectibility of mankind. Thirdly, progress was regarded as irresistible, something that automatically pursued a straight or spiral course. Each of these predicates is controversial and open to criticism. However, when the chips are down, criticism must penetrate beyond these predicates and focus on something that they have in common. The concept of historical progress of mankind cannot be sundered from the concept of its progression through a homogeneous, empty time. A critique of the concept of such a progression must be the basis of any criticism of the concept of progress itself. Oh no, are we deconstructing our sense of modernity? I think this is just going to get a bit too woke, Jacob. Oh no.
Oh no, I'm terrified.
Oh no.
It might
14.
be.
Origin is the goal. Karl Kraus. Wrote and versed in Golden 1. History is the subject of a structure whose site is not homogeneous empty time, but time filled with the presence of the now. Thus, to Robespierre, ancient Rome was a past charged with the time of the now, which he blasted out of the continuum of history. The French Revolution viewed itself as Rome incarnate. It evoked ancient Rome the way fashion evokes costumes of the past. Fashion has a flair for the topical, no matter where it stirs in the thickets of long ago. It is a tiger's leap into the past. This jump, however, takes place in an arena where the ruling class give the commands. The same leap in the open air of history is a dialectical one, which is how Marx understood the revolution. All this mention of Rome incarnate is once again just making me think, like, God damn it, do I have to read Philip K. Dick's Valis? Like, Valis is calling to me. Should I play Rome Total War while reading Philip K. Dick's Valis? Or what's the most Roman, what's a fun, I don't know, like, I'm like, what's a more recent Roman video game, but like, what's a fun one? I feel if I get a recent one, it's me some Nazi shit.
Yeah, it's inadvertently all the Nazi stuff. What the fuck did that guy get up there?
Yeah, that sounds very good for a weeknight snack.
Yeah, dang. Garlic, arugula, mozzarella, tomato, spicy sauce, chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do love like arugula and chicken with like a pesto or a white sauce on a pizza. That's some good shit.
That does sound real good.
15. The awareness that they are about to make a continuum of history. The awareness that they are about to make the continuum of history explode is characteristic of the revolutionary classes at the moment of their action. The Great Revolution introduced a new calendar. The initial day of a calendar serves as a historical time-lapse camera, and basically it is the same day that keeps recurring in the guise of holidays, which are the days of remembrance. Thus, the calendars do not measure time as clocks do. They are monuments of a historical consciousness, of which not the slightest trace has been apparent in Europe in the past 100 years. In the July Revolution, an incident occurred which showed this consciousness still alive. On the first evening of fighting, it turned out that the clocks and towers were being fired on simultaneously and independently from several places in Paris. An eyewitness, who may have owed his insight to the rhyme, wrote as follows. Who would have believed it? We are told that new Joshua at the foot of every tower, as though irritated with time itself, fired at the dials in order to stop the day.
Destroy that obstacle, squad!
16. A historical materialist cannot do without the notion of a present which is not a transition, but in which time stands still and has come to a stop. For this notion defines the present in which he himself is writing history. Historicism gives the eternal image of the past. Historical materialism supplies a unique experience with the past. The historical materialist leaves it to others to be drained by the horror called Once Upon a Time in historicism's bordello. He remains in control of his powers, man enough to blast open the continuum of history.
Eliminate target T!
So the historicist basically frames in narrative and indulges in the myth. Visits the horror at the bordello, as Benjamin says. The historical materialist leaves it to others to be drained by the horror called Once Upon a Time in historicism's bordello. He remains in control of his powers, man enough to blast open the continuum of history. Yeah, this gets down to like, why do you study history? Like, why care about history? Like, are you just using it to paint a pretty shelf, to aestheticize something? Like, are you a Roman statue emoji guy? Do you need to buy a bunch of swords and axes and tell people, like, or convey to people on forums that you were a Viking or something?
Yes.
Or is it to, mitigate the schizophrenia of the now and just have a sober understanding of your place within material reality and maybe put yourself at ease? Wave off the exhaustion of being in a state of postmodern schizophrenia with some like historical materialism, with some understanding of how we got here and how things could possibly change if we are to act in X, Y, and Z ways. We got to build a lot of things in Minecraft, folks. That's what I'm saying.
There we do.
I'm not going to say anything else.
Y'all know what we're talking about, though, right?
Yeah, I think Jacob plays in Minecraft all the time. Hit him up on the Discord if you want to, do server stuff or whatever you guys do in Minecraft.
That's true. Got me and my buddies.
Dang, making pasta from scratch.
Man, I've done that. I only done that with gnocchi. It was delicious and really easy.
18 or 17. Historicism rightly culminates in universal history. Materialistic historiography differs from its method more clearly from any other. 17. Historicism rightly culminates in universal history. Materialistic historiography differs from it as to method more clearly than from any other kind. Universal history has no theoretical armature. Its method is additive. It musters a passive data to fill homogeneous empty time. Materialistic historiography, on the other hand, is based on a constructive principle. Thinking involves not only the flow of thoughts, but their arrest as well. Where thinking suddenly stops in a configuration pregnant with tensions, it gives that configuration a shock by which it crystallizes into a monad. A historical materialist approaches a historical subject only where he encounters it as a monad. In this structure, he recognizes the sign of a messianic succession of happening, or, put differently, of revolutionary chance in the fight for the oppressed past. He takes cognizance of it in order to blast a specific era out of the homogeneous course of history, blasting a specific life out of the era or a specific work out of the life work. As a result of this method, the life work is preserved in this work and at the same time cancelled in the life work, the era, and in the era, the entire course of history. The nourishing fruit of the historically understood contains time as a precious but tasteless seed.
Stand your ground. Come on. Eliminate them. You heard me. Give them the whole 9 yards.
So Jacob is seeking the messianic cessation right now. He is seizing the moment, free from the nostalgia of historicism, sober and hands on the ground as a historical materialist, mapping the territory, putting bullets through brains as need be. He is being effective in the moment, within the game. Why is that? Oh, is that your dude? No, he's just taking forever. Was he like armored up?
Yeah, he's just a big asshole.
Fall back. Let's go. Let's go.
A historical materialist approaches a historical subject only where he encounters it as a monad. In this structure, he recognizes the sign of messianic cessation of happening, or, put differently, of revolutionary chance in the fight for the oppressed past. He takes cognizance of it in order to blast a specific era out of the homogeneous course of history, blasting a specific life out of the era or a specific work out of the life work. As a result of this method, the life work is preserved in the work and at the same time cancelled. In the life work, the era, and in the era, the entire course of history. The nourishing fruit of the historically understood contains time as a precious but tasteless seed. 18. In relation to the history of organic life on Earth, writes a modern biologist, the paltry 50 millennia of Homo sapiens constitute something like 2 seconds at the close of a 24-hour day. On this scale, the history of civilized mankind would fill 1/5 of the last second of the last hour. The present, which, as a model of Masonic time, comprises the entire history of mankind in an enormous abridgment, coincides exactly with the stature the history of mankind has in the universe. All of history is just a blip, fellas. Think about that. This grand extracted and extrapolated narrative is actually a monad in time, an object, just a blip.
How about that?
The historical materialist who would be, to Benjamin, an angel, is one who can act on this monad and change the moment in favor of the oppressed in the fight against fascism. You know, it's able to collect something from the past while beating its wings against the flow of time. But it does get dragged forward by time. There's no going back.
Yeah, you can never go back.
But
kind of
there is the sort of coming out of. Well, let's get back to Freire talking about like bringing an oppressed person out of a submerged state. Like you're teaching an angel how to fly, if that makes sense. Does that track, Jacob? On a metaphorical level, like teaching someone to recognize their material conditions and kind of like recognize the oppressor within them and what's keeping them down. Mm-hmm. Or what they're blaming on superstition that they can actually like take a hold of and change in their life. On a micro level, they're becoming their own angel of history in a way. Like we can use that metaphor of like learning to fly, growing some wings.
I like that. Yeah.
I'm really starting to think of this in very anime terms because of the fucking necrophilus, which we can't say its name too many times, folks. It might show up.
Yeah.
But just these two things is oppositional, like the angel of history, like the state of like coming out of the self-loathing, self-oppressing mode, recognizing your material conditions and being able to navigate them in the moment instead of waiting for tomorrow or dwelling on yesterday. Because if you stay in the dark too long, the necrophilus will get you.
And you don't want that.
And then you're just a stat on a spreadsheet.
We don't want that because we're already that in the eyes of our bosses. All right.
Yeah, Ja, I agree with the like no need for a messiah. I think there needs to be a coalition of actors. As I was saying before I read your comment there, if we're to go back to the free area with like the oppressed and bringing the submerged out of their state of oppression. Say it 2 times now. No. Don't remind me I'm saying the name. But yeah, Ja, I think we can take from, because I'm trying to remember, we can take from what Benjamin's saying and what we're learning from Freire. Yeah, because, Benjamin wrote this in early 1940.
Full squad up.
He did not survive World War II, by the way. He died on the way of attempting to escape the Nazis.
Damn.
Yeah. Lost him too early. He was one of my favorite guys.
I can see why.
I may be grossly misassociating with the Frankfurt School, but like one of those dudes of the Frankfurt School era. I'm assuming that basically one of the dudes who was coming out in the early 1900s, 1920s, 30s, 40s, just questioning again the whole strain of cultural criticism, like critical thinking, critical theory, the Frankfurt School. All this stuff was developing at the time is just an observation of like, well, it's been about 50 years since like Marx was talking all his shit, and some of his stuff is clearly happening in a material sense, but in other ways, like people aren't like working in their best interests. There's all these cultural and aesthetic and economic factors that seem to incentivize not acting in certain ways. You know, what psychologically appeals to us about society that's like entrapping us and keeping us the ways we are? How do we recognize that? Which is why, like, you know, for instance, this Angel of History, he's talking about, you know, how do we get out of this trap of like the nostalgic past and the dread of the future, the lack of envy for the future. But yeah, I would have liked to see his kind of maybe post-atomic. Yeah, Benjamin and H.P. Lovecraft are some dudes I'm like, how would they have felt after the nukes went off? As far as what was possible and where this whole human project was going.
Yeah, like what happens? What happens next after this?
I think in some weird fucked up way, H.P. Lovecraft becomes like a chill guy.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, we're all gonna die, but that's okay.
Cause like he's like, what if scary thing, big monster?
What if my brain go crazy? You're like, well, your brain is gonna go crazy, buddy. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, but a whole nation like channeled what you were thinking through haptic material experience into a little thing called Godzilla.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
But Ja, I do think it is important for like the messianism to not just be a solipsist or individualist like because you can easily slip into this idea of like, oh, I'm just optimizing myself to be the best hustler within the neoliberal capital system. Something that we've been talking about since the Freire is like how easy to just kind of corrupt it into like motivational speaking or business talk without the wider social consciousness aspect. Concept of history, why yes, Wizworld.
Go get a ball.
So I think you do have to recognize as part of like being oppressed, and I think Freire would point this out too, like it is about the communication and the community, and through the reconciliation of what's going on materially with like your immediate others. Only then can you have like a true like enlightenment, a true rebellion, not just like a changing or a shifting of management.
Yeah.
Because then all your resentments are just like, I could be a better manager than the current manager. And then you're just Griffiths from Berserk.
La, da, da.
All right, we just finished like his thesis proper, like we went through all the chapters, but he does have 2 little postscript A-B notes that I'm about to go through. A. Historicism contents itself with establishing a causal connection between various moments in history, but no fact that is a cause is for that very reason historical. It becomes historical posthumously, as it were, though events that may be separated from it by thousands of years. A historian who takes this as his point of departure stops telling the sequence of events like the beads of a rosary. Instead, he grasps the constellation which his own era has formed with a definite earlier one. Thus, he establishes a conception of the present as the time of the now, which is sought through with chips of messianic time. B. The soothsayers who found out from time what it had in store certainly did not experience time as either homogeneous or empty. Oh, he's talking about Dr. Manhattan, you see. The soothsayers who found out from time what it had in store certainly did not experience time as either homogeneous or empty. Anyone who keeps this in mind will perhaps get an idea of how past times were experienced in remembrance, namely, in just the same way. We know that the Jews were prohibited from investigating the future. The Torah and the prayers instruct them in remembrance, however. This stripped the future of its magic, to which all those who come who turn in their soothsayers for enlightenment. This does not imply, however, that for the Jews the future turned into homogeneous empty time, for every second of time was the straight gate through which the Messiah might enter. Yeah, like time's in the active. This is kind of getting back to Milton to bring up Paradise Lost again, of when Michael's walking Adam and Eve out of the club at the end, and he's like, sorry dude, that was last call, like you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. He's like, don't think about what you're gonna do in the morning, man. Like, how are you gonna get home right now? You've been kicked out of paradise. Don't dwell on how you're gonna get back into paradise, because Eden's off the table. Stop thinking about that, man. Like, you're not dead, you just can't be here anymore. And you can still work towards other things. Not believing in a destined fate does not mean you have no hope for tomorrow. It's just like, hey, we gotta mind the now to make sure tomorrow happens. Again, the angel of history has to, like, its wings are fighting against the current, but, like, it has to go with the storm. And so it's about what it can still grasp out and most effectively, like, keep in play as far as what we remember culturally and what it does against fascism. Blue truncheons incoming.
And you get a blue truncheon. And you get a blue truncheon. Oh, hell yeah.
Also, now that I'm thinking about this last segment in particular, I know Wiz commented earlier. I'm pretty sure I've heard Wiz talk about this or chop it up with Lux or someone on Fight Opera before. Is Jonathan Hickman like referencing something like this with his Krakoa era X-Men run, where, or is it Mystique's partner isn't permitted to be on the island or permitted to know the future as part of the whole deal? It's been a moment, but I remember that being like a part of it, is like the mutants who can time travel or go to the future and stuff. Like, I believe that's banned. Okay, Wiz.
Damn it.
It's funny you bring up not knowing enough Benjamin about it, because I was wondering if there's maybe also, like, outside of Benjamin, something within the Torah about it, because he is invoking kind of that in the final bits here. That's something Milton does too, is like do it in remembrance, but you really got to mind the present. This is something Tolkien does with the Numenor, and that part never gets fucking... It's one of my favorite parts of Return of the King, where there's a historical tangent about the Numenor, if I remember right, where it's like they spent more time and money and effort into building tombs to the dead than they did housing the living. Yeah, it's so fucking good. It's also one of those things where it really seals the deal on the overarching point Tolkien's been building through since Fellowship, where like the hobbits haven't been participating, or like history has not been like minded or participated in, and like again, I find a lot of the lore drops, especially like in Fellowship, a means of like the hobbits realizing they're like, oh, they're not separate from the world. Like there's a historical continuity. They're falling into the river. Like they're falling into the storm that the angel of history is, you know, flying within. And if anything, Gandalf would be kind of an angel of history. I was about off the cuff to just bring up, or just like in a quippy way, that Tom Bombadil would be the angel of history. But Tom Bombadil doesn't give a fuck. Like, the storm doesn't move Tom Bombadil, and he's not picking through the trash. He's just standing there anchored on the ground. Gandalf's the one who's like, well, the fucking Balrog's giving me shit, but I have to go back to the other plane, and like, I guess I'll class up and get down there and like... Again, just, hey Serge, when talking about his recent read-through with me, really pointed out, you know, they use the wizard staff on Wormtongue. Like, they're not supposed to have that staff in that building. They don't ask Wormtongue to go nicely. Somebody please understand that part of Lord of the Rings correctly. I would love to see an adaptation that considers it. Well, no, that is one of the parts Jackson does pretty much correctly. I'm just hopped up on Bean Hameen and hopped up on the fires Jacob is stoking in this game.
Yeah, that's fair. Fix that guy. Let's take a couple of you. Alright, guys, fall back. Let's see.
They say stand your ground specifically. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I'm going to turn up the game, and then I'm also going to look into the Fourier reference within this thesis, because Ja had me thinking.
Let's go save our fallen comrades.
Get them, everybody! Patch you up. Take it easy. This'll help the pain. Regroup! Move! 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 Let's roll! Go scout. You heard me!
Let's go, boys.
Okay, Benjamin was a fan of Fourier, so I was misunderstanding it. I'll look back at it as well then, Ja. But yeah, he writes that to have instituted plays the canon of a labor no longer rooted in exploitation is one of the great merits of Fourier. So Fourier's philosophy on the concept of play.
Aboard, let's go.
As a practice of individual work and expression over a practice of individual compulsion. Seems to be something Benjamin was a fan of. I'm going to go back to theses real quick. Well, he was critiquing Fourier's style as a vulgar Marxist.
Defend, move. Yes, sir. Switch over there.
I think in the way that, yeah, Fourier was for labor, but I think Fourier's lensing of labor, if he's being lumped in with the vulgar Marxist within the part Benjamin's talking about, it's because rather than it being, you know, you work the land, it's like the land needs to be worked. There's still a sort of Protestant compulsion there. Again, I think this is going to be a distinguishing thing. This is why I'm looking at Abdul al-Sayed's race. Coming forward is now that we're getting into like the dim soak socialist like normalization in the Overton window, which I remember as early as like 2020, 2021 seeing reports that like as far as like elected officials in positions of power nationwide, like the numbers on socialists were starting to break records. Like not just like if you're looking at like the US Congress, like the US federal, but like as far as like mayors, city councils, state level reps and such. Again, I know there is like the older boomer fear of the word communism or socialism, but I don't think like people need to be scared of it. And I think this Marxist, vulgar Marxist thing Benjamin's getting into, where like he praises Fourier's for his breakthroughs on play, but he still is making the distinction of like, well, like you're for labor, but what do you think labor does? Like, is labor compulsory in that you do it because the land and because scientism demands that like it's scientism or religiosity demands that like it's a sin to not work the land, or like it's not profitable to like leave it to go to waste, or is it labor's choice to do the thing? Because the former leads, it starts leaning into like technocracy and ideas of like exploitation and like putting the land to use, and the narrative and the myth making that starts sliding into can tend towards fascism. But I think what we're going to see, I keep saying we're going to start seeing this in the contemporary, but I think the way this kind of thing is going to show up in the coming, elections is the social democrats and democratic socialists who want to say like, oh yeah, it's only a little bit of socialism, or like, I'm not wholly a socialist, I just have a few socialist policies, or like, you call it socialism, but it's just common sense. The difference between people who use those kind of things and candidates who just full on now say like, yes, I am a socialist, or yes, I am a communist. I mean, Benjamin cites the Rosa Luxemburg in Thesis, and not a very happy ending to that story. So I personally am a bit worried of the kind of well-intentioned John Stewart style, just like, oh, they're not really socialist, it's just, a little more welfare. It's like, just call it socialist. Don't cede that ground as far as like minimizing it. It goes back to the self-deprecation, self-minimizing permission thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Quasar, I have been curious to revisit Siphon Filter. Fourier analysis is used in flight modeling and performance measurement. Okay.
March for Soviets. Get moving.
That's your unlikely shoot from the hip jaw. Got it. See, I do think he's talking about Fourier because he brings up the vulgar Marxism in the sense that, like, oh yeah, he'd have us like melt the poles and tame the world, and then all the wild beasts would hail to us. Like, he's being that bitch about it.
Here, take this.
Right, Wiz, I agree with, like, yes, polls do show that. To harp on the left doesn't need a Joe Rogan. It's like the left needs candidates and elected officials who are going to actually act on the policies they say they will. Like, we just need to put people in those seats who will do the thing.
Yep. Like Zoran has kind of shown that, like, hey, if we have a plan in place with the right people, we can make things happen.
And he's getting critiqued for keeping Tish on board, among other things. And it's like, yes, do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Find the Reds. Check over there.
Also,
Search over there.
to be more local about it, Kim Paxton's not agreeing to talk to Talarico or anything. I'm very curious about that.
Because he's trying not to get any word, give him any coverage.
Just bad AI mailers. Yeah, because Paxton apparently voted from a fraudulent address or an address he's no longer living at. He, of course, let pedophiles walk.
I can just walk free pass, baby. He doesn't have to register as a sex offender.
I am wondering how much Talarico hype is outside Texas versus inside Texas, but again, the Gina Hinosa polling kind of has me hopeful, or maybe a bit smiley today.
Yeah.
I did have a bleak kind of what if in my head of like, well, what if Hinosa and Talarico like do win, but like the state's just like, no.
Oh yeah, just some other fuckery.
No, take backsies on word of law. We have violence backing us.
Mm-hmm. As always.
As we talked about when reading Critique of Violence last session.
Regroup. Go, go, go.
Man, I'm trying, Joe.
Yeah, as Ja points out, Jacob is wrecking fools.
Letting the boys do all the work.
I'm checking if we have boys on. No, it looks like the Pixel Goblins not going tonight.
Aboard, team. Moving out.
Okay, good. Let's focus. Boys.
Wiz, have you read any Dragonlance?
Defend. Move. Defend here. Let's go.
If still here. Dang. Blew that dude's legs out.
Pretty great.
Relax. Gotcha.
Gotcha, alright, cool. Get back in the fight, boy.
This'll fix you.
Medicine will get you back in the fight.
Only game books, no pros. Okay. Just a reminder here right now, since I didn't do it at the top of the break, now that we're done with all the Benjamin and the Freire, we're going to be moving on to Gretchen Felker-Martin's Black Flame. Once Jacob wraps on Freedom Fighters here, I'm going to fire up Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo while reading Black Flame. Once we're through Pipistrello, we'll be moving on to Mina the Hollower. Once we're done with Black Flame, we'll be moving on to The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin. I did all that because those are the books we're reading as part of our summer scramble. Once again, everything we're reading and talking about here on stream is under 200 pages. Just as many short books as we can get through this summer is what we're aiming for, folks. I might start leaning into more horror type stuff a bit closer to Haunt Timber as we ease into that season, but Jacob, I'm thinking of playing the Alan Wake games come Haunt Timber.
Love that.
Although there's other horror stuff as well. We'll figure it all out. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to ramble out this a bit. Wiz, I just bring it up because I started Dragons of Autumn Twilight a few days ago. And as far as like chewy, just fun nonsense, it's been fun. Especially because after reading Book of the New Sun, after Lord of the Rings, there's a nice contrast going.
Eliminate. Get moving.
Also, it's just very funny to me as a sci-fi fantasy genre nerd enthusiast since child, being on the forums. How often, Dragonlance I would hear in reference to just being like Lord of the Rings plagiarism, like at least like the first trilogy. And like, yeah, they needed a bar, but there's like an unrelenting, like commando-esque pace to just things happening in the Dragonlance book. Like, there's been no rest, nobody's birthday passed, like nobody's aged 30 years. There hasn't been any time for contemplation, like just, yeah, so dudes meet up at a bar, sure. Like, the Fellowship, like, sure, Strider and Frodo and them all meet up at a bar, but like, the actual Fellowship doesn't happen until way later in that book, and just Dragonlance, it's like friends meet at a bar, get attacked by goblins, things are on fire, people start running, they're chased by bad guys, now they're fighting bad guys, now they're fighting bad guys in the evil forest, now something mysterious is happening and they're following the Spectre, now the Spectre leads them into another encounter in the evil forest. Like, it is a DM, just like with the latitude of the tool set, making a robust narrative adventure since they're in control of all the players. Honestly, I enjoy how much it's making me feel the vibes of D&D Honor Among Thieves in the way it doesn't over-explain the physics or the lore of the world. But it, since the D&D rules are there to fall back on, there is an organic sense of the physical when needed to make the thing feel haptic. Yeah, no time to waste. Dragon God's returning.
Okay, let's go.
If you make any fantasy thing where characters meet in a bar at the start, you're cursed to 2 decades of dudes on forums saying you're just copying Lord of the Rings.
It's true.
Find the Reds. You heard me. Watch for activity. Do it.
And again, that phrase, to go back to the Frieri and the banking method of education, like, it's just copying Lord of the Rings. That's just like a cachet phrase to get recognition by your peers that you have a sense of snark and like, yes, that is an intelligent observation. It's not to actually discuss the interiority of both series and their comparison and contrasting. It's to dismiss the thing, to put it at a distance, as Benjamin would say with the aestheticizing force of fascism.
Regroup. Regroup. Come on.
It predates Tolkien, though, of course. Oh, wait. Because Dragonlance came out in '84. Ali's Dragon of Autumn Twilight, which is the first licensed one.
This'll help the pain. Thank you so much. Defend! Go, go, go!
Oh, starting in bars. Yes, yeah, I know.
This should help.
It's such a, I don't know, it's such a dude on a keyboard complaint that, what do you mean the people met up in a spot people commonly and frequently meet up in the real world? What do you mean people hang out at bars? They met up in the chamber of meeting.
Fuck.
Dang, you should have sent your clan of dudes in.
I know. I was like, oh, they're working on that.
You had a
dude.
lot of guys flooding in there. I was trying to figure out a way to make a joke without it.
Not being derogatory to a certain group of people.
No, not that. Just I was like, is it the American is it the Klan? Is it lynch? Do I go with? We have so many groups we can use. Is it is it a lynch mob?
This is my gaggle.
Is it a gaggle? Is it the Texas Rangers?
It's my boy Gaggle.
Which iteration of the American right-wing death squad do you want? Because
It's a murder of white men.
yeah, it's a whole murder of white dudes. In America, you can be a Halo or a Batman. What do you have a squad of?
Yeah. Ooh, it's good.
Get back here. You heard me. Defend this area.
You guys sit right there for a second. Fucking tell you where y'all need to go.
There's just an assertion here, or like a need here, post 9/11. We are the terrorists. We are the aggressors. We are the ones who use these tactics. We lay claim to this.
It is us.
You're just repainting the bucket you were molded into. I was listening to the Black Casebook podcast, which is a podcast about Batman in his many iterations, but they tie it into like, historical context, history, politics. They are like leftist critics. Black Casebook will work with Collective Action Comics from time to time. But the most recent episode of Black Casebook is on Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. And I bring it up because I think about how 9/11 made Frank Miller just hyper xenophobic. It didn't make him. It was the sort of. I don't want to assign like it to 9/11 as if he didn't have the programming there blatantly and that it was awoken by the event. But like,
Yeah.
like so much of like pre 9/11 Frank Miller and like 80s Frank Miller is like this libertarian-esque critique. I mean, and this anarchist kind of look at like. He's skeptical of the state. Like Batman Year One is referencing the move bombing. Like he's like Clint Eastwood in that like even if he's not like if he's not comfortable doing lefty shit, like he does feel like something's wrong and he wants like in an individualist sense there to be like a solution.
Yeah.
The bucket was waiting to be filled is what I'm trying to get at with Frank Miller. And kind of if we're to talk about violence and its just means, unjust means, just ends, unjust ends, if we're just trying to, I don't know, have the same 9 to 5 the next day, except Donald Trump's not in the headlines, your bucket's gonna be filled, or you're just forging a bucket that will be filled with like, oh, I should just off my boss, like just the downward punch down or the destructive horizontal take is there without you realizing it, because even if you think you have the progressive ends in mind, the means are still eliminating a person. Like Frank Miller thinks he was doing something with the symbolism of the American flag in critiquing it, but then as soon as there's an existential dent on his youth and his sense of what damaging America is, hey, refill my bucket, buddy.
Yeah, bud. Nice.
Everyone's still alive? Cool. All right, good team, good team.
Maybe a better way to phrase it, given tonight's reading, is the angel stopped flapping its wings. I think that is worth considering as well. Like, you can fall back into the bucket. You can fall back to the ground from the storm. Like, you can learn to fly, but you have to exercise those muscles.
Yeah.
I think that's part of why there's a messianic tint to the language, Ja, because I think to an individual, like, they do have to hold it important. Because the muscle can atrophy, so it does have to be practiced in a diligent sense. Again, like, you know, the future is like, it's empty in the sense that, like, it's possible, but it's not, like, destined or fated. Just because I'm reading Benjamin now doesn't mean in, like, 5 minutes I will know what Benjamin was talking about if I just eject it from mind or forget about it. Ask me in 3 weeks. Am I minding the thesis? Will I remember the thesis? That kind of a thing.
Watch for activity. Come on.
Yeah, I'm in.
You're the boss. Lead on.
You're the boss.
Take them down. Bring it on. Take them down. Watch for Soviets. Move. 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 Eliminate them. Let's take them out.
Go on, guys.
I'm kind of curious, like, so do these guys win and then we just elect Barack Obama?
I think so, yeah.
And
It's
then,
like, you
and then
can get a
everything
black-
just resumes as normal. We still get Trump 2016.
Yeah, nothing really changes except the moment.
Hey, I fought in the 2003 Revolutionary War and I didn't get no health care. Like, I'm voting for this Donald Trump guy.
Defend this area. Squad.
Or is that historical fatalism? I guess the ending of the game will determine.
Right?
Eliminate. You heard me.
Jeez.
They hurting your dudes?
Mm-hmm.
You should
Got 3 down.
You should go heal your boys.
I ain't got no health.
Oh yeah, it takes actual health packs, huh? They're not just like down Gears of War style.
Yeah. Damn.
You just grab a few.
Take it easy. This should help. Here you go. Try this. Regroup. Do it. Stand your ground. Go, go, go.
Alright, now I only got 1 guy down.
Find the Reds. All of you.
Dude's in the doorway.
Check our perimeter. Everybody.
Like a movie producer.
Scout that area. Team, be right back. Detect and report.
This has reminded me in a weird way of Brutal Legend,
Yeah.
Check over there.
which tried to be like an RTS on a console, and it tried to split the difference by making it heavily a like third-person director type game,
Certainly a choice.
where you were like pointing and building things and then directing forces from them, from the ground. Except I remember at some point it gives you wings so you can fly, and that just lets you like look over the whole battlefield in a typical RTS like mouse cursor fashion.
Yeah. It's kind of sweet.
I can remember Benjamin if Ja can remember the majesty of Clipmoon. That's true. I remembered Benjamin enough to bring him back up. I mean, ever since reading the work of art, The Age of Mechanical Reproduction on stream, I've been talking about the Angel of History.
Get moving.
I think it is a concept or a phrase worth holding in mind, even if you do it in an anime rubric sense, like I've been doing in relation to the necrophilus. But then again, that's what mythology is for. Not mythological violence, but mythology. Making synecdoche, you know? So maybe one day, just consider in your mind, there's the necrophilus and the angel of history. The yin and yang of the whole dang system. And that system is dialectics. And that boy's name was Dialectics.
Damn.
Wipe them out. Move.
There you go.
Attack. Everybody move in. Take them out.
That's the problem though. Sometimes they just sit there at the front and just like, I can shoot him from here. I'm like, don't do that because you'll just die.
Yeah, you have to care. You have to care for your dumbest boys, Jacob.
It's true.
Society's only as strong as its weakest link. I really wish the Odyssey kept the bum fight scene in. I talk about, you know, the measure of society, weakest link, yada yada, but Penelope really does have one of the best speeches in the poem. When she breaks up the bum fight and is just like, this is not befitting a society.
Take this.
How do we measure ourselves?
Defend this area. All of you, scout ahead. You heard me. You got it. Stand your ground. Do it. I'll wait here. Defend this area. Let's go. Let's go. Stand your ground. Defend. Defend here.
So you can have them all kind of stationed wherever you need them.
Squad up.
Defend here.
Squad
Go,
on
go,
up.
go. Sweep that area. Everybody. Defend this area. Come on.
All right, what are we doing? Hacking mainframes?
This is the furthest you've made it this level.
No, I've made it in here once before, but I don't exactly see what I'm supposed to be doing.
Is there like a floor above you?
I gotta raise a flag. All right. Yeah.
A reach bunker?
They just really love putting flags everywhere.
Get
That's how you
back
know
here.
it's American. They're just like, we just raise a flag, you know?
Go watch for eye. Move. Move. Move.
Oh, they're engaging someone.
Stand your ground. Squad. Yes, sir. Report any activity. You heard me.
Oh, whoops.
Whoops.
Let's see.
Pull out. Team con and report. All of you, you're in the area. Search over there. Move. 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 Relax. Just breathe.
How do you get to the flag?
Dang.
Can you jump out of the pillbox? Like you see how it has a window?
I can, but it's just to the. Let's see. Oh,
I mean
a whole new
inside.
section.
Like,
That's right.
go up there.
No, I think there's barbed wire in those.
Okay.
Yeah, damn.
I was like, is that how you climb up to the top? How do you get to the flagpoles?
Check our perimeter. All of you. Report any activity. You heard me.
How do you track health packs?
I don't. Just like as you pick them up and remember.
Oh, they'll just be in the inventory. Okay.
Yeah.
Observe and do it.
Oh, they're like up there.
Go, go,
Yeah. I got any more? Fuck with that.
Report activity. Get moving.
They getting the guy up top.
Yeah.
Cool. Right.
Oh hell yeah. Okay, awesome. Another one. All right, we're doing good.
Go watch for Ike. Everybody,
Okay, you got it.
pull out. Squad, falling in.
All right. Can you go that way?
Stand your ground. Let's go. Let's go. Consider it done.
Ooh.
Relax. I got you. That's much better.
All right, so there's one.
Cool.
America. Yeah.
Is that other way open? I don't think so. These bars. Also, can you jump? Nope. Oh yeah, there's. Oh, I thought there's some broken cable over there.
Damn, that'd be fun. All right, I guess I got to backtrack.
I mean, you got hit all four anyways. You probably got to rotate around. Yeah.
yeah, so I'll be in.
Probably send your dudes there.
Come on, more team. Recon. Everybody,
Scout in the area, sir.
defend this area. You heard me. Defend here. Go, go, go.
These levels are pretty linear, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's usually like a couple different ways you can go, depending.
It's definitely on rails in the way I remember the console version of Rainbow Six 3 being as well, which was very frustrating to me. Although I do like that it gives you more dudes.
Yeah,
There's just so many dudes.
I love it. It's honestly really fun, especially as
Like,
you,
I don't mind how rough the squad management stuff is, but like Rainbow Six 3, the PC game, I mean,
Watch for activity.
I mentioned earlier, like when we were talking about Harry Potter and stuff we were reading as kids, like yes, I read Tom Clancy books, they got me. I didn't join the army though. I just read Rainbow Six and The Hunt for October without remorse. And played a lot of Rainbow Six games. And Ghost Recon.
My friend's dad brought us to see The Sum of All Fears.
I remember thinking, oh yeah, that's a real mature movie. Like
Same. I was like, we're seeing an adult.
we're seeing a serious adult movie.
Watch for Soviets. Let's go. Get back here. Do it.
But the logistics planning you can do, the management you can do in the Rainbow Six games on PC, as far as like, you can do whole orders. You could set up the whole plan and not even like touch the controller once it's in motion.
yeah, I love that kind of planning. Ooh, okay, well,
Defend. Do it. Do or die.
Pretty sophisticated signaling, stopping, breaking things up into teams.
Find the enemy. You heard me. Roger.
The means are gunfire and violence, but the ends is, you know, logistical team building in a real-time situation, or logistical like team planning in a real-time situation. And that aspect I enjoyed more than what the consoles did, where the ins were just like shooting galleries and the means were like tactical operator camouflage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the PC one, yes, it is a game in which you shoot guns, but it's not wholly a shooting game. In the sense that like there's a lot of planning that goes into what you have to do.
Squash, you think?
Yeah, like it being the first person shooter I can remember where like you can slowly crack open a door so as to not alert dudes, I was like, oh, okay.
No, it's pretty rad. Oh, hell yes.
And the PC version, again, since it was like, it wasn't like linear, like the maps were like definitely far more like naturalistic. Like, you know, here there will be locked doors and stuff kind of guiding your way down a certain path.
Yeah.
That would not be the case in the actual, or like in the PC version of like, in the ethos of like PC Raven Shield.
Fall back, team. Right behind you. Hit their position. Let's go. Let's go. This will help the pain.
I mean, the same thing, the means and ends, and like the ends not actually being, oh, you're getting hit, buddy.
Defend this area. Go, go,
I think like a lot of people approach the grand strategy genre in the wrong way, in assuming like the ends is they're learning history through the means of video games. When what those things are doing is like the means are like using history, the ends are to make a video game. Especially because something like an RTS or a grand strategy game, there are no individuals, only systems, and so it's a very reductive view of like what is historically causal.
defend here. Get moving. I'll wait right here.
In the same way, this is laughably unaware of like historical causality in the way it's like, yeah, they're just freedom fighters, American Taliban, revolution. Wave the flag and say freedom, that'll fix everything, right?
Right. It makes me think of
This is how geopolitics gets done.
what's that adult swim show that used to make fun of Hanna-Barbera, the Venture Brothers?
Yeah.
Whenever it was like, it makes me think of whenever one of the characters throws the main villain into jail immediately, and then he immediately gets out. It's like, haven't you heard of due process? Like,
yeah,
you can't just throw people
Yeah.
in jail. Such a good moment. All right. We're doing for almost half of our people. All right.
There's also the time Phantom Lynn calls the cops on the Monarch. Or Dr. Girlfriend calls the cops on the Monarch. The trial of the Monarch. Like, oh, I didn't know you did. Or does Dr. Venture did it because he was drunk. Yeah. Assaulted an officer.
Regroup. Come on.
Damn it, yeah.
I didn't know you could just call the cops on him. Like,
How the fuck do we get down there? Huh? You guys show me.
is there a door you have to open or blow up or something?
I don't know. Sometimes I can like send them really far ahead, which is nice, and to where I'm like, how do I get over there?
Team. Yes, sir.
Alright,
Regroup.
you guys just follow me then.
It's still locked over there.
Yeah. Oh, there's that one over there.
Action man.
Get moving. Stand your ground. Let's go. Let's go.
This music,
Right.
Go watch for eye. Move. Move.
it's so goofy. Like, it's a goofy game, but I thought I'd be going for like some cinematic, like Bruckheimer-esque scoring for something like this.
Right, because they've definitely had it in the past,
Right.
like before, earlier. Oh, burning. I know.
Game complete.
Whoa.
Okay.
What a unceremonious.
Is that... Oh.
What?
Hey, Chris. I've been looking all over for you.
There's no like.
Why don't you celebrate with me and the rest of the crowd?
There's nothing for me to celebrate. They'll be back. bigger guns.
The forever war is inevitable.
But you stood up for what you believed in. You fought for freedom.
You murdered
Yeah, what'd
people.
you believe in?
We all won.
Yeah, President Epstein's so happy.
Yeah.
Kids here will wake up to the burning ruins of New York. It's my fault.
Is it
No,
though?
it isn't. This is our land. You helped us
Rocket
remember what's so
fireworks.
great about it. It may be hard to define, but
They haven't.
when you haven't
What
gotten
is so
it, you
great
know
about
exactly
America,
what it
though?
is. It's about
You know, we.
When you haven't gotten anymore, you know, America's loss. America is shooting to keep from losing. Like, that is the anxiety.
That's why it's better that you go. God, look at that hand. We did complete the game for free.
Yeah, there is no positive America. America's a thing you lose if you don't kill for it, is what I've learned from this whole thing.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you're gonna miss the party. Oh, did I interrupt something? Hey, don't get all mushy on me now.
Yeah,
Don't go
having
writing love letters
feelings,
to the
that's
sample like
weak,
babysitting a kid.
loser. Don't you know that's
I was
cringe?
just saying,
You would do
oh,
that.
man. Am I gonna stand here at the end looking like an idiot?
You are.
Is that what they're ending
I'm
on?
just like everyone else. I have dreams too. I want the same things. Okay, sometimes I can't say it right. It's all about loving your fellow man.
Are they listening to him or walking away?
I don't know. What is.
This ending's so confusing. They know how to direct action. I don't think they understood what, like, people talk for.
2020 re-release.
Okay.
Okay.
Folks, this has been Freedom Fighters. Thank you for sticking with us for this new test of the Techno-Poverty format. I think we really did something here, yeah. We really did something. No, yeah, like, this is the first time we had, like, Jacob run through a full game while I just kind of read on the side, and I think I enjoyed what we were able to bounce off of it.
Yeah,
Also, we got through Pedagogy of the Oppressed here on stream.
Right?
Again, folks, you can read books. Demythologize, like, the specter of what completing a book or completing a game entails or means.
Barney's exhausted too. She's happy. That's so funny that this is the 2020 re-release.
So at the ending, he's just sad New York's on fire, but he got the girl because, like, the exceptional individual is fated to be the breeding couple, paterfamilias.
But the fighter lives on to keep fighting and being upset about other things.
But his friend has dreams too? That was a very weird Willie Loman, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, just like, I got poetry in me, I just don't write it. Like, what was that? What was that ending?
No one truly knows.
Like, it's Commando without, imagine if at the end of Commando, John Majors is like, yeah, but the island blew up and people died. And then there wasn't, like, the 80s fucking synth rock, like, blasting over the credits.
Right. What if the beginning of Commando didn't start with a fucking awesome, like, zoom in on his bicep holding a log? You know? Like, what if we were sad about being muscles? But yeah, what a wild game.
Is there a post-credit scene? Jaw, taking Kaushi bets right now. Is there a post-credit scene? 3-2, is there a post-credit scene?
Yeah, what are we thinking?
AR Berlin, is there a post-credit scene? I'm actually going to look up.
Like, what other endings we got?
Well, while we wait for the post-credit scene, I want to find, if I can,
Yes, yes.
a TV commercial for Freedom Fighters from 2003.
Oh, it's like a cinematic trailer.
No, this is slop.
Uh,
What is this? This has like Spider-Man clips and stuff in it.
Right.
Sorry, gang, I'm looking at incomprehensible YouTube crap.
Right. Was this from 2003?
How is it that I put Freedom Fighters commercial, okay, maybe Freedom Fighters TV commercial 2003 video game? How am I not getting, like...
Well, we unlocked all the locations.
Challenge everything, guys.
Here we go. Here we go. This may or may not be the thing, but as a little treat at the end of the night, we're going to just watch a trailer for Freedom Fighters that would drop in 2003.
2003 trailer.
God, getting the YouTube scene set real time. Oh no.
Oh no.
Everybody look at Barney. Just keep looking at Barney.
Look how cute she is.
Don't have the Barney cam up right now.
Ooh.
Now we have the Barney cam up.
Look how sweet
You know what, Jacob, keep petting Barney. I'm going to make Barney huge for a moment. That's what the people are seeing. Yeah. All right.
She's so good tonight.
While they're distracted by Jacob's handsome face and Barney's beautiful features.
Sweet baby. This is how we treat dogs. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, sweetie? Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We love these sweet little babies. I always forget to do this. I always forget to change the aspect ratio of this guy. Yeah, sweet little baby. She's so small.
All right, I muted the game. Let's see if we did this right. Is this just the opening cinematic? Oh no. In America's darkest hour, a leader will rise.
Like, how do we talk about 9/11 without talking about 9/11, you know?
What do you mean without? Did you actually have to train dudes at any time?
No. We'll say though, fun gameplay.
Yeah, I think the general metric, I mean the general rhythm of like getting a bunch of dudes raiding a place and popping off enemies, like it's reverse Space Invaders, you know?
Yeah.
Damn, that wasn't the one I thought it was. I'm gonna give this old YouTube one more search while you guys look at a huge Barney face.
Yeah. She's so cute. Barney, you're so modest. You're the modest little beanie baby. Yes. Oh. Oh.
All right, my YouTube foo is bad. I specifically remember like a 30-second TV spot that was very maudlin and saccharine and had like the army brass horns playing at like Mourning for a Dead America.
That does sound like a thing they would sell to us.
Like yeah, like 2003. Like you're watching Sunday afternoon football with your dad. The Xbox commercials are on.
Oh boy, she's.
But yeah, that has been it for Freedom Fighters and Paulo Freire, and as well the Walter Benjamin. I didn't even realize we were going to be reading at the beginning of Freedom Fighters.
Yeah.
Tune in on Monday. We're starting Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. We'll be talking about Gretchen Felker-Martin's Black Flame. We're going to be watching The Return on our Discord. After that, who knows where the Summer Scramble will lead us. See you next week with some furry games. Until then, y'all take care. Thanks for watching with us tonight.
Night, y'all.
See you soon.
Good night, Techno Hotties.
Forehead kisses.